All right, it worked. Okay, so today is April 21st. So it's after 420, which was a big day for some people, not for me necessarily, but it was for a lot of people. And excuse me. So I hope some of you come on. I didn't come on last night because I got to see my son, which was really fun. It's always really fun to see him. He's a really, really cool kid. And hi, Meg. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. Hi, it's Annie M. Dragonfly. Ooh, from South Africa. Oh, I love that. Let me know where you're from. Hi, Michelle and Reese. Okay, both of you. Cool. Are you guys, where are you guys from? Kate, hi. I'm here from New Zealand. Yay! I love New Zealand. I like a lot of the world. I really do. Believe it or not, it's very funny. I am Shailene. All right. Are you? I'm here, Miss Tori. Glad you got to spend with your son. Thank you, Verity. I am too. It was really great. It's a really wonderful night. Jane Squirrel. Okay, from Olympia, Washington. Okay, cool. And from Reese and Michelle are from Canada. Okay, good. And hi, Saul. I'm just watching a speech you did. Was it at CFI? Probably. That's mostly, well, I don't know, different places I've been speaking over the years. I am Shailene from Canada. Oh, from Canada, California. Okay. Now that's interesting. I don't know where that is. I really don't. Born ancient. That's good. Checking in from North Wales. Ooh, I love it. That that's let's say I'm English, Irish, German, Scottish, and part Welsh. So I'm part of you. You know, we're related. Um, Hi, Tori, North Carolina. So nice to see your son. Yeah, he's a great kid. He really is. Hello from mid Michigan. All right. Hi, Sharon. And Skeptic Camp 2024. Good, Saul. I like that. That's good. You've got a camp going, it sounds like. And Meg Hill, Jean Squirrel. I'm in Central Washington. Oh, okay, cool. Got some Washington people. So anyway, I went out with my son last night, had a great time. We generally, I had made a thing with him when I first left because I knew Scientology was, I knew from seeing my husband and how weird it had gotten in such a quick amount of time. I don't know what they did to him, but I know that he was white as a sheet, skinny as a rail. All he could say was, "You left me," which I didn't, and I kept saying, "I didn't leave you. I left Scientology. You know, I left the cult. That's it." But I was worried about my son. I had gotten him out, but I just didn't want them, doing their disconnection thing. And I had already said, so I got with him and I said, "Look, disconnection is not an option, just so you know." And he laughed. He said, "Yeah, I know," because we'd already talked about it beforehand. Because I just wanted that, and I actually had that agreement with Harold too, my ex-husband, that we would never disconnect. So that's a little bit that ticks me off because he's OT8. They're supposed to be, these able beings. And part of our marriage vow was that we would never, not talk to each other. And can he talk to me? No. Why? Because of Scientology. Hi, love it. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. Hi, Susan Ward. And hi, I am Shailene. No, not Ontario, Canada, near Toronto. Okay, cool. Good to know. Good to know. So anyway, I made a little deal with him and I said, "Look, let's just get together every 2 weeks, for brunch or dinner, whatever." And for a long time we just did brunch. Hi, Wovia, Sherry. Hi. And for a long, long time we did brunch and we would just go out to eat and that was it. And then as things got better and they just got better in his world, my world, and he got to understand more what was going on. And Hi ho, Tori Magoo from the Nomestead, My Alaska Life. Okay, cool. So anyway, now we still get together. Most of the time we do have dinner, and then we usually go for a ride. Like last night we drove all through Toluca Lake, which I've got to put those pictures up. They're just so pretty. There's so many pretty houses, and both of us like architecture and stuff like that. So it was really fun, and history. And he's a big history buff. So I love hearing him because he always educates me on stuff that is really great. And reminds me, like sometimes I'll get really upset about stuff going on, and he'll say, Mom, he'll give this whole quote, and I'll go, and where was that from? And he'll go, 1892. And it'll just be so healing to hear. Oh my God, it really does make a difference if you know history. It really does. Love Tea Lake. Andrew Griffith lived there. All right. Cool. Hi, Sharon Serendipity, Senior Squirrel. Okay. There seems to be a lot of Canadians here tonight. Hi to all of you and Beth and everyone else. Tori Magoo, 44, you're the best. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that nice comment. Flagrant Queefs. All right. I've intentionally been sending people to your channel who are curious about the basics of Scientology. All right. Well, thank you. I'm always trying to figure out what you guys would like to hear about and what not. And so that's a thing that you could send me. If that's a good thing. I'm going to write that down. And your interest, you're sending people to hear about the basics of Scientology, because the tricky thing is this: the real basics of Scientology is money. That's it. Hubbard said, if you want to make money, start a religion. And that's really what it is. It doesn't, when you get in, you don't really realize that. That's the tricky thing. Okay, now wait a second. I've intentionally been sending, okay. Now this is Wolfie and Sherry. Just for your information, my screen name is pronounced Hoovian. Okay, Hoovian. All right, I'll try to remember it, Hoovian. But thank you for letting me know that. I'm really bad with names, so I will let you know that. So I should probably just call you Sherry. Miss Hart, okay. Scientology had my son for 5 years in St. Louis. Oh, I got stomped the grounds day and night and to get him out. Good for you. But you did it, right? That's the most important thing. Ashley Andrews. Hey, Tori. I hope you're having a blessed day. I am. I really am. And mainly because of all of you guys. My Tony. And I talked to my Tony. Hi, good evening. I'm so happy to hear from you. I'm happy you come by. It's really great. I love talking to Natalie today. I talked to her for a while. She's really great. Both of you are. Okay, so now wait, I missed this. We love hearing about whatever you want to cover. Okay. Well, tonight I'm going to cover, because I think, unless you guys tell me differently. Hi, Ashley Andrews. Hello, everyone else. Here, look at, she's got her little, the squirrels there. It's okay. Sherry is good. Okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah, I'll call you Sherry. Saul, I would love someone to break down the OT levels and what they're supposed to learn on each level and what they're supposed to achieve. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to write that down. I'm not going to talk about it tonight, but that is something that it's kind of weird because I think I've talked about it before, and what you're supposed to achieve. It's really funny, Saul, because they used to have the gradation chart, and it was posted everywhere. Every org, every mission, they had it, and it was all kind of red and white, and it showed, what it was, what you're supposed to get, an estimate of how long it took, and what was the EP, the end phenomena, what you were supposed to get. Now they don't have any of those EPs. They're all gone. There's nothing. They don't say that, because so many people like me didn't have a win on OT7 at all. And it was just a long, long, painful, awful thing. And so I think eventually Miscavige said, look, just take off the things, because it had a hidden standard to it, that it was supposed to be, you're supposed to get this, but not everybody got it. And what happened, one of my friends explained it to me, which of course the church will never explain to you, but I always say it, and I'll say it again, because in case there's anybody new, I did OT3 and I had wins on it to an extent. I ended up going into status epilepticus and having grand mal seizures and nearly dying. And the doctor said 5 more minutes and you would have been dead. So how big a win was it? But while I was on OT3, I thought I was handling epilepsy, and thus I felt like I was having huge wins. Anyway, point being, one of my friends would constantly say on the internet that he had big wins on OT7, and I've never had any. So I finally wrote him and said, what's the deal? Because I never had any of them on OT7. And he said, here's the thing. OT3 is the main thing. And if you have wins on OT3, that's it. That's really it. OT4, 5, 6, and 7, and maybe even 8. I don't know. I can't remember if he told me 8 or not. But they're all kind of makeup things for if someone didn't get the wins on OT3, then they would do those other levels. And they're all about the same stuff, which is BTs and clusters. Only they have little variations to them, but they're very similar. So it really helped me, because I did feel like I was just massively overrun. Overrun meaning you've done it way too long past when you were having success on it, right? And so it was really good to hear that. Anyway, Jane Squirrel, just your thoughts on everything Scientology is so helpful. Well, that's good. I'm glad to know that. No one, hello, saying hello. Thank you. This is a nice thing she's saying. That's sweet. We love you. Thank you very much to all of you. I feel it from each of you. I really do. Okay, now somehow my Tony, I don't know what happens. You're sending someone other stuff, so it's not to me anyway, but it kind of crunches up with Sherry's. My Tony, sorry to hear about your DX. I want to send my positive vibes your way. Okay, we're all sending 20 positive vibes. Definitely. Every single night. That's a given, and I want everyone to really, just make sure you do spend some time sending him, whether you believe in prayers or blessings or just good thoughts or positive energy, anything. You just never know what's going to help someone. And I know Jesse, my friend Jesse Prince, who used to run Scientology with Miscavige and has been out for years, but he told me, he got cancer. He got really bad cancer. He had stage 4 cancer, but his daughter wouldn't tell him. He just said, you have cancer. And Jesse would put pictures of himself on the internet every day. And you could see him changing in a very negative way. And he would write how he felt, what was happening. And thousands of people, it may have been hundreds, but it felt like thousands, wrote him blessings and prayers and, good wishes. And whether that actually helped him or not, I have no idea. But he's alive to this day. And that's years afterwards, when he should have not made it. It's like at least 10 years, at least, he's been cancer free. So anyway, there you go. So send some wishes to my Tony. I love that she calls him my Tony, because then I always call him my Tony. Well, it's not really my Tony, but I think if you okay, here we go. I think if you recap the OT levels, it would help break Scientology down from the core out. Okay, well, I think you're right in a way, but again, I try to explain to people, very few people do the OT levels. So it's just the top triangle is the OT3 and above. All the rest is other stuff. So I guess it would, but I think it's important to understand the whole picture of it, and how science, if you start with the OT levels, they're not something people say that and they talk about it because of the internet and because of people who've written things and posted things in South Park and stuff like that. So people now think that everybody knows that's what Scientology is about, Xenu, etc. It isn't at all. That really isn't. I mean, it is the upper levels of it, and people are working towards getting up to those levels, but they don't know. They haven't never heard the word Xenu. They don't know the word Xenu. They don't know body thetans. They don't know anything. And for new people, if you're on, it doesn't matter. We'll go over it. I will go over it. But I'm just telling you, it isn't the core of Scientology. It's sort of like, it isn't why people get in Scientology. They don't know anything about it. So anyway, we'll go over it. We will. But I see what you're saying. All right, Charles, La Poo Poo Protestor Daniel was last to leave last night after crossing Franklin. He heard a car horn and turned around. He saw a man following him who hid behind a tree, then ran away. Creepy. Okay, but he's okay, right? Oh, you scared me for a minute. I thought maybe he was hurt or something. Yeah, I know they can be. That's why I'm not going over there, because I know they're creepy. They're very creepy there, and I think they feel like they have an excuse to hit people because people are drinking and stuff like that. And it's not really the Church of Scientology, it's La Poubelle. So it's sort of like, nah, not my thing. I'm not doing it. But other people are, and especially men, it's like I love DOAs. Like, go ahead, hit me. I've been hit a million times. It's no big deal for me, but it's a big deal for me. So I don't want to go there. All right. Okay, Jane. My son has seizures, and I'm so glad you take medicine and talk about it. Thank you. I do, because, you never hear about it. I realized, things like MS now is very well talked about. Many, many different diseases that for years were never talked about. I mean, I don't think as a kid I ever heard that word MS ever. And now you hear it all the time. People have a lot of people have it, but you don't hear about epilepsy. It's still kind of in that dark closet of like, and I think part of that, I really do, Jane, is that most neurologists, I mean, I don't really think the medical community understands what causes a seizure anyway. So I think that's kind of why it's the way it is. And so I've gone on websites about seizures because one of my doctors years ago wanted me to change medicines, and I wasn't happy about it at all because I hadn't had seizures in 20 years. And so I went on this website about epilepsy, and I said, I haven't had seizures in 20 years. My doctor wants me to switch to blah, whatever it was. And that community went nuts. I mean, they were like, don't do it. We tried it. It doesn't work. And it was just like person after person. It was like, wow. It was really amazing. But it was kind of neat to see there was a community online that definitely dealt with, and that was the place where I learned it's like a spectrum. Like, what's the other thing that they call the spectrum? Like autism, is a spectrum where, people who really have it really bad, or people who have it a little bit and in between. And it turns out epilepsy is like that too, where there's just very different degrees of it. So people were talking on that website about it. So I don't know if that would help your son to, hook up with some of, online, and just be able to realize there's other people that have a similar condition kind of thing. But, please send my love to him. And I hope, is he still having seizures or not? Because it's awful having seizures. It really is. It's very, very hard. And thank God he isn't in Scientology. Talk about a double whammy. It's like you have seizures. I had the medicine and they took me off the medicine. I have these seizures. They all start running. You're not responsible enough. That's your fault. You're creating it. You're mocking it up. You're this. I was like, oh my God, talk about a nightmare. I'm kind of amazed I lived through it. I really am. I really am, truly. And it's incredible. So tell him I send my love. And if he ever wants to talk, tell him to call me, because I'm very willing to talk to people. And I know, I don't know his age, but I know that I talk to young men all the time, and young women, but especially younger men, because they have a kind of a hard time for a while. My Tony, okay, he's just sending love. Michelle and Reese, wow. Okay, you guys are all talking to each other. Okay. So here's Saul. So they have pretty much made it. Each win is upon your own experiences. Results may vary. Right, right. Very much, very much. So it's sort of like, you know, they told me that because Barry Klein had told me when I was OT3 or OT5, and I was around the AO, and Barry Klein was an FSM, which is a field staff member, somebody that gets people to go the next level and they get a commission for it. So all of those guys they used to get new people in and, help them up the bridge kind of thing. But now they realized all the big money was up at the top, right? In the top triangle. So they dumped all the new people, and all they did was go after the top people on the top and getting to do something else or donate to IAS, that kind of thing, because they got a bigger commission. But Tony would always imply he'd healed all these different people, his mother, different people, they had a broken arm, he fixed it. And so I really thought, okay, I know what OT7 is. It's you learn how to heal people. And I was like, this is great. That's really, I'm very excited about it. So then, of course, to get on to OT7, you have to be invited, to OT. You have to do OT5. Then you have to be invited onto OT6. And then you get on OT6, which is just the training for OT7. And it's long. It's about a month, 2 months long. And then you have to wait and be invited onto OT7. And now I forgot what I was telling you about it. Shoot. That's what happens. Anyway, so you have to get invited onto, what was I saying? I don't know. I can't remember it now. I just, that, but it's a long haul. I can't remember what I was saying. If somebody remembers, let me look and see if it's at the bottom, if somebody remembers. No, the last comment is no Saul. Okay, these are all to Saul. Anyway, well, I can't remember. Sorry. Okay, Jane Squirrel. Not as frequent of seizures, mostly because of closer supervision. I'm glad that you have survived. He's 42. Okay, good. Yeah, my medication has been really good. It's really helped me. And they should have never taken me off of it. They shouldn't have. All right, now what is this? This is Missy Hart. He wasn't allowed to talk to even his sister. He said they controlled him, took 2 months after we got him home to tell us. Yep, it's a cult. It definitely is. Ooh. This is Saul. Or this is MD Media 18. Saul, absolutely not. I'll go to Blue during the days and Pasadena at night. I'm not scared by them one bit. Yeah, I'm not scared by them. I just have been hit by them. I've been pushed downstairs. I know that they hate me. They now say that I'm an undercover top secret CIA agent, which I know they hate. So it's like you have to know what they're after. And it would take nothing on La Poubelle to push me out in the street. Nothing. Because it's just such a small little thing and there's so many people and stuff. Whereas, anywhere else, I'm fine. I have no worries about them at all. Even if I was right next to them, I don't care. It's like, it just isn't a situation, except I don't want to be right there. It's just too crowded. Plus, it's not my thing. I believe I want to speak out about Scientology, and I want to get that. I mean, I know they are, but I want them to start saying Danny Masterson, Scientologist, rapist in prison. Do you see what I mean? If you say all that, and then if you go in there, the owner supported Danny Masterson, who's a Scientologist and a rapist for 2 women, and one of the drinks that got her, out of it so that he could rape her was at this restaurant, and he's now in prison for 30 years. You know what I mean? Then someone might be able to go, wait a minute, maybe we shouldn't go to this restaurant. I just think I'm a big fiend of education. I really am, and I think if people understand, then they can go, maybe we better pick another restaurant. Do you know what I mean? But if you just say you're supporting rape, they're like, no, I'm not. I'm going here to have a hamburger. It's just, I don't think it quite connects. And so for me, it's like, no, I get the purpose, but I think they have to connect those things, and then it would be better. But I'm happy they're doing what they're doing. That's all I can say. Jane Squirrel, not as frequent. Oh, there, this is when we did. Let's see. Please remember in chat to chat to Tori in complete sentences and use context. Sometimes it's a while before she sees your comments. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Love it. It's true. And then I forget. That's the thing. I'll forget what you were talking about if you say half of it in one place and half in another. So the whole sentence really helps. All right, here's Charles. Okay, good. He's answering what I asked. Daniel seems shaken, but he's okay. Happened in the last 10 minutes of his live stream. The man was skinny, wondered if it was a skinny Celebrity Center security guard I saw across Bronson Avenue on Friday. Probably. I mean, it sounds like a security guard. I mean, it's not really something generally people are going to do. Not that they wouldn't, but okay, this is from Carrie. My nephew has epilepsy and his father won't let him try medicine. Very concerning. He's so distressed for a couple of weeks after each seizure. And it's just such an abuse. I really, really have a hard time with people that are against medicine when there's confirmed evidence that medicine helps. I mean, I get it if you go, no, I have another thing. It's all natural and I do it and it works. Okay, fine. I'm all for that. But to say, no, you have to have the seizures and I don't want you to take medicine, that's nuts. I'm sorry, but you should have the father call me. You really should. If you can, have the father call me because it's your nephew and, I'll be nice to him, but, he really needs to think about it because he's not thinking from his son's viewpoint of how much pain and torture it is. And it's just stupid. It's like I won't call him stupid to his face, but it is. It's stupid. It really is. I don't say that often, but when I do, I mean it. And that's one of the times. Okay, so let me see. Hello, Tori from Montreal. All right. Hello. All right. I think we're at the end of the comments. But I don't know that I got all the starred ones. So let me just make sure. Okay, we got those. I'm just going to go up and check. Okay. Okay, I think we got maybe everything. Okay, this is a question. Have you been to the location in Twin Peaks, California, close to Lake Arrowhead? I'm not sure if I've been to that one. I've been to one other one that one of my friends who kind of was in on a lot of this stuff, she lived up north and she thought there was an OSA compound there. And so we decided, let's go. It might have been the Twin Peaks. I don't know what it was, but where it was, because I wasn't really familiar with. Oh, thank you, Tony. That's nice. I love that you're here. Anyway, I'm not sure where it was exactly. Okay, good. So I think we got it. Wait, here's a couple more. Let me just get these. And then remind me what I was talking about, which was that thing that Ladybird and I went to. Beyond Miscavige's luxury expenses, real estate, and influence, Platinum place of Hubbard's work underground. Where does the money go? The $1 billion plus. Exactly. And you think I know? I have no idea. I mean, I think I'm sure he has it stocked away. And I know that someone told me that they're building a huge complex in South Africa. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. This was years ago, like maybe 15 years ago. She told me it was like top secret, but she said, Tori, you wouldn't believe it's all seaorg and it's all in South Africa. And we were like, okay, so is he planning on moving to South Africa? I have no idea. But I think some of it is probably in that, and some of it he's stashed away, and he spends a lot. He just spends it on himself. Okay, hey Tori from Kentucky. Tori, you light up when you talk about your son. It's great to see you so happy. I know he truly is the light of my life. He really is. I mean, I don't know. He's just a great kid, and he's helped me my whole life. He really has. I got him a Way to Happiness award when I was in Scientology because I was at Flag. I had to do something at Flag, and so he gave me these little targets because we used to do targets and little things that he had to finish things by and stuff. So he gave me these little things to finish at Flag so I could be home by Halloween. And I just thought it was so cool that he really did it. And he'd be like, he was just so positive. I was like, good job, Mom. You're on it. And I'd be feeling like, oh, I'm never gonna make it. And he'd be like, no, you're right on target. You're doing great. He wouldn't say on target, but he'd say, you're making it on the steps that we need for you to be home by Halloween, and I made it home by Halloween. So I told the Way to Happiness people that. And it was interesting because some of the wins from the Way to Happiness contest, which is different than Way to Happiness, the Church of Scientology. This was a lady that ran kind of a corporate Way to Happiness thing with contests, so kids would actually go out and plant trees. You know what I mean? It was really neat stuff. And then they would win awards if they did stuff. So I thought it was really cool. So I told her about my son. So she gave him a little award. It was really cute. Anyway, I get it, Caroline, about the seizures, and there's so much fear and stigma around it. There is. It's like I said, doctors don't know what causes it. So it's sort of in the closet, but it's so devastating for the people who suffer from it. It's true. It's very true. That's why I speak about it, because you never hear about it. You never hear about it ever. I don't. You never see it. It's not in movies. You know how they have different conditions are in the movies, but not seizures. Not yet. No. Okay, so anyway, let me go down to the bottom and just see. I think I got all the highlighted things. Good evening from New Zealand. It's Sophie. Hi. Good to see you. Thank you for coming by. And Miss Hart, hello. She's saying good night, everyone. Okay, so I guess she's heading out. And this is, Twin Peaks is, I think that is, it's up around Lake Arrowhead where she's supposed to be. If that's the same place, be careful if you can't go live. I've heard security is intense there. Yeah, we may not have been there, but where we were, first of all, it was years ago. So I don't even think Shelley was there no, she was, because she was already missing, but it was just like brand new missing. And we went to this place up north somewhere, and it was so spooky. I mean, it was really spooky. It was like there were these houses and then a big house, right? And we thought, I bet you she's in the big house. So instead of going to the big house first, we went to all the little houses and said, have you by any chance seen Shelley Miscavige? And it was just so stunning to see their responses. They'd go like this. The door would just close. They wouldn't say yes, no, anything. The door would close and we'd go like, whoa, this is spooky. And we just kept going house to house. Have you seen Shelley Miscavige? The door would close. And you can say, well, you look like two crazy people, but we don't. We were just regular, at the time, middle-aged women. And we were being nice. We weren't being rude. We were just asking a simple question. And it was so extreme how quickly they shut the door. It wasn't even like, who is she? Why are you asking about it? Anything. You know what I mean? It was nothing. And then we tried to get in the big building. Of course, forget it. That wasn't happening. So I don't know if that was it or not. I don't to this day. But we were pretty freaked out. It was like, whoa. Whether Shelley's there or it was some other Scientology thing, we were pretty sure it was some kind of Scientology compound for some reason. Okay, so this one, she says, Twin Peaks is off 189 in the San Bernardino Mountains. Yeah, yeah, I think that's where we went. I'm pretty sure. Okay, now this, I'm not sure what you're saying. CPS should step in on this. I don't know who CPS is, so you have to let me know that. Does anybody know? All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go on to my topic, which was um, Scientology and secrets. Who knows? I have that. And the other thing, someone had asked me to explain about the Scientology Parishioners League. So I'm going to tell you about that. Oh, Child Protective Services. Okay. Yeah, they should. That's a good point. That's a good point. We should get them on Scientology. I'm going to see if I can call them. I don't know that. I have a feeling, Scientology's probably way infiltrated CPS, and thus, nothing's going to happen. But it can't hurt to try. Okay, so for the secrets, first of all, like I've said, the Scientology is like a triangle. So you start at the bottom, and it's just the communication course, and then your grades, which are about problems and upsets and secret or your own withholds kind of thing. And I can't remember the last one. There's 4 grades. And I think grade 0, yeah, well, grade 0, I think, is communication, and grade 1 is problems. Grade 2 is, I don't know. I'll have to look them up. I can't remember them. Thank God. I'm actually happy that I can't remember them. But they're different things that handle kind of smaller talk therapy kind of things. And so, those people inside, and I think it's still true to this day, know nothing about Xenu or any of that. That has nothing to do with it. I mean, granted, Hubbard has written some weird stuff, and people can say, see, here's the quote. He does talk about it, and he does to a little degree. But I'm just saying, to the degree people around, that are on the internet know about secrets, the people in Scientology don't, because they're not supposed to be on the internet anyway. Now, I don't know how that is now. This is 24 years later, but they were really locked down. Nope, don't get on the internet. And they had us scared. They really had me scared. And I don't get scared, but I got scared about my friend jumping out of a window, and she just sounded crazy. And my other best friend, Bill Yachty, who got me to open the secret accounts, and he said, well, she was reading the internet, Tori. That's what happens. These people are really evil, and they they can really twist your mind around. And it turned out, I found out once I escaped out, she called me, and they had drugged her and reverse audited her. Auditing makes you better. Reverse auditing makes you worse. Isn't that spooky? So they had drugged her, but she was a secret, what do you call it? Like an infiltrator. Like she went and infiltrated David Mayo, who was used to be a big top tech guy, and left Scientology and started his own group. And so Scientology sent her to find out what he was doing and who was going there and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that's a good reason to drug someone. It isn't. It never is. But that's Scientology. They can't shut her up. All right, drug her. I mean, I can't imagine, you have to figure with these kind of things, somebody had to know, right? It's like even the stuff I did where I opened those phony accounts, it was really a very small group of people. It was Bill, Yachty, and maybe 4 men, and I think one other lady and me. It was a very small group of people. Reverse auditing, that's another interesting topic. Okay. Will you come on and tell us about it? Because I know nothing about it. I've never even read about it. I've never heard about it, except Nancy said it. And then I realized, oh, yeah, they did do that with me on OT7. Because OT7, I had already attested to clear, obviously, way before OT levels. And on OT7, some auditor came in who wasn't my auditor and said, just so you know, when you went clear, that wasn't when you went clear. So when did you go clear? And I went, well, I just sort of maybe then. And she went, nope, it's none of those. Okay. And she walked out. And I had never heard of reverse auditing. So I didn't know what that was, but it was weird. But I never really thought I was clear anyway. So I didn't give a shit. It was like, okay, so that wasn't it. All right. I don't care. Because the original definition in Dianetics says a perfect memory, a perfect IQ, no somatics, no pains. Well, if you have epilepsy, that's not going to fly. Not now, not ever. And I thought the bridge would handle it, but I realized it's not. It just isn't. So by the time I was on OT7, I was just like, really, next lifetime. That's when it's going to happen. Okay, now, Michelle and Reese, maybe Louis R. could get into reverse auditing. Sure. Yeah. I don't know who Louis R. is. Is he here? I don't know. You're saying Louis R. Let's see. Let's look up. I don't see him. I don't know who Louis R. is. Unless he's here. Well, we'll have to ask him. Tell me where I can find him. Yeah, remember to hit the like button. Thank you, Fluffer Squirrel. Hi, good to see you. Boy, Aaron gave you a great, he really went on and on about your list. It was really cool. It is really cool. I loved it. It's a good thing you did. Louis Repetto, you know him. Long, dark hair, sweet guy. Okay. And where do I find him? Because I might know him. Louis Repetto. Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to ask him about reverse auditing. Yeah, I'm sure some people know more about it. I just don't. I'd never heard of it. And I heard of it with Nancy. And then I realized, oh, yeah, that did happen to me on OT7. But I didn't care because I didn't really think clear was. I only went clear because Arthur Hubbard told me I went clear. That's the reason why I went clear. I never by myself said, I'm clear. You know what I mean? It was like he said, no, you went clear with my dad last lifetime. And I went, really? And he said, of course. You read 2 or 3 chapters of Dianetics and you hitchhiked from Chicago to LA. Yeah, you were a last lifetime clear. He had a lot of, and I said, but I was born in 47. And he said, yeah, but he was working on Dianetics then. So you were probably one of the people he was working with. And all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, okay. So I attested to it, but I never really felt clear, because I always kept with the original definition. A lot of people changed and didn't, but okay, he's an ex-seaorg member protesting in St. Louis. Okay, so he's probably online. That's good. Okay. Tori, what was it like to think you are clear? I never did. That's what I'm saying. I never really thought I'm clear. I just wanted to get up to OT3 because that's what everyone said you need, Tori. No one said anything like, Tori, you need to go clear. It was like, I mean, I did, but it was really just a step to OT3, which everyone thought that would handle epilepsy, which of course it doesn't. It's a physical illness. Like my mother said, it's not a psychosomatic illness and you need to take your medicine for it. So anyway, I didn't ever have a, I'm clear, that kind of thing. I really didn't. I attested to it just because I wanted to go on and get to OT3. But to me, it always felt like a bullshit step. I hear people say, I'm clear. And I think, okay, do you have a perfect memory? No. Do you have a perfect IQ? Not really. Do you have no somatics? No. You're always talking about your pains. Do you have, no, it's like you don't have what our LRH originally said was the state of a clearer. But I wasn't going to invalidate people on it because they thought they were clear. And many people still do. They're really like, I'm clear. And I'm like, okay, not in my world, but in their world, they are. And that's up to them. It's like, it just is. But I never had that I'm clear kind of thing. Didn't happen. His channel is St. Louis Scientology Audit. Wow. Well, that's long. But thank you for telling me that. My dad's from St. Louis. St. Louis Scientology Audit. Okay. And this is Louis Repetto. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jurgen. All right. So, okay, now wait a second. Quite sure that Louis is wearing a rainbow sleeve shirt at big protests at the Blue compound when the whole second gen gang was there. Aaron, Liz, and Liz. So he still really believes in the tech. Yeah, it's tricky because there are definitely people that are really, they definitely believe in the tech, which are usually the independents. Okay, I met him at my first picket. I don't know, back then. Okay. All right. I meet so many people. It's really very, imagine not having any really memory for names and phone numbers and then meeting all these people. It's been a situation my whole life. When I got married with Harold, we were at CC and I had to tell him, I said, all right, come inside, because after we were married, people came up to me and I knew them, but I didn't know their name. And so I took Harold inside and I said, look, this is a nightmare. I can't remember these people's names. I've known them forever. I've been on course with them. So you just put out your hand and say, hi, I'm Harold. They'll say, hi, I'm Louis. I'll say, Louis, and it worked great for 26 years. It was really a fantastic way of doing things. But then I left and that was the end of that. He remarried and there you go. All right, so Louis is a very high-ranking auditor. Okay, that doesn't mean that he knows about reverse auditing, but we'll give it a shot. I'll try. Okay, so here's this. Louis doesn't believe in the tech anymore, and he's very interesting. He has a lot of training, and he's an SP now and protests a lot in St. Louis. Okay, good. Good. Well, that helps because then I'll feel better talking to him. Louis was in LA and okay, that's the one that you mentioned to me. Okay. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, then I think I remember him. Oh, yeah. Louis held my puppy for an hour. Yeah, I think I do. You're talking about the picket we had pretty recently. I thought you meant a long time ago. Oh, yeah. I think I do remember him, and he had long black hair or brown hair. I think I do remember him. Yeah, he's a nice guy, really nice guy. All right, good. Well, thank you. I don't know quite how to contact him, but I'll give it a shot. I'll go on his site and see if I can find out. But thank you for helping. See, when you kind of put in a little bit more picture, then I'm like, oh, okay, now I know who he is. It definitely helps. Where if you just say you met him at a picket, it's like, yeah, he and about 80 other people, it's difficult. But then when you mentioned that, it was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Oh, good. Okay, good to know. She has Lewis's contact info. All right, great. If you could email that to me, that would be terrific. Is she on here? ToriChrispin44@gmail.com. Let's see. I don't know. Uh-oh, what happened to the comments? Oh, there they are. Okay. It's weird to think that they're so against drugs, yet they drug people that get in their way. Not many. She's the only person I've ever heard that of. I'm not saying they don't, but she's the only person I know. Okay, that's good. Okay, all right. So here it is. Wait, let me write it down. Fluffer squirrel. Wow, you're just a wealth of information, Fluffer squirrel. It's so great. I love that. Is on YouTube. Okay, and it's at Leaving Scientology. Okay, good. Isn't it so wonderful how many of us there are now? I mean, to me, it's just fantastic. I mean, I remember I started in 2000 when nobody would speak out at all. It was like there were four of us really that would speak out with our names and say who we were and stuff like that. And the rest were like quiet for 2 years. I mean, till 2008. I mean, it was a long, long battle. And I'm talking people pounding me every single day, writing lies about me and mean things. And it was just awful. I mean, it's kind of a miracle that I lived through it and I didn't, I don't know, jump off a bridge or something like that, or just leave the group and say, okay, screw all of you. You can do it yourself. But I didn't. And that's the way that is. So with the secrets, it's really just that there's so many secrets in Scientology. They have secrets about everything. That's the other thing. Like I remember, we moved to Clearwater in 1979, and there was nobody there. There were like 4 Scientologists there. And so this guy, Milt Wolf, called me in the office. And this is how I got started with OSA. He said, and if I've said this and you all know it, just say it. Somebody has to say, okay, we all know it. Because I can't remember how many of you know this story or not, but it's kind of cool. And it's the beginning of me doing OSA. Natalie Webster knows Lewis. Okay, good. But I'm asking you about the tops or OSA in 1979. Do any of you know that story? All right, think about it for a minute. It's me in Clearwater. It's a new story to me. Okay, all right, good. So I'm going to tell it. That's all I need is one person. There you go. So I'm in Clearwater. I have a brand new baby. Justin was like, I think, I don't know, so many months old. I think he might have been. Yeah, I think he was like 6 or 8 months old. No, I don't ever wear the anonymous mask. Because of my hair. They always know who I am as soon as they see my hair. So no. Okay. Thank you, Sophie. So she wants to hear about the OSA thing too. So basically, this guy Milt Wolf calls me into his office and he says, "Tori, you need to come into the office at Flag." And back then it was just one building. It was Flag Land Base. It wasn't this huge compound that they've now built. And if you want to hold your questions to the end, flagrant queefs, I'm not going to answer that now because I'm in the middle of telling about this other thing. So ask me that at the end. Okay, so he calls me in. He says we need to, and you have to get, I had never seen anything like this. It was like hundreds, if not thousands of people. It was probably hundreds, but hundreds and hundreds of people driving through downtown Clearwater. Honk if you think Scientology is a cult. Don't trust Scientologists. They're liars. They're creeps. They all had these signs. And I mean, it was awful. I had never been around something like that or seen anything like that, except probably in Germany, where it was just so monumental, right? So he calls me in his office and he says, "Look, we L. Ron Hubbard was out on the ship for years, which I knew. He decided to come on land in Georgia. So the ship was going into, moving into land in Georgia. And they got word, this is what he said, that the FBI was going to plant drugs on the ship. Now, they're really anti-FBI, CIA, that whole thing. They're always like, they're after us. So you're already in that mindset of like, oh, okay. And so he said they were going to plant drugs on the ship. So LRH swooped around to Clearwater, Florida, bought the Fort Harrison under a different church name, the Church of, I forget what it is. Somebody will know it here, but it was a different name than Scientology. They didn't say Scientology because he didn't want them to know. And so now the city commissioner, they had already screwed over the mayor, which was Gabe Gazaris, and they totally black PR'd him, third-partied him, ruined his life, and he was out. So now Richard Tenney, who's the city commissioner, decides, I'm going to run for mayor. And his whole pitch was save sparkling Clearwater, stamp out Scientology. That was it. And so Milt is like, you need to go out and handle this because we can't. Because his whole pitch is we're liars, and we are liars. We did come here on a lie. So we can't go out there and fight it. The seaorg can. But you have to, Tori. There's only 4 public here, and you need to go help us on it. So what am I going to say? No? So I thought, all right, I'll give it my best shot. And I start out, United Churches of Florida. Thank you very much, SP Articus. I am. There you go. Thank you. So, they bought it under the United Churches of Florida. Thanks, Ed. And that was the phony front for it. But now this guy's starting Scientology are liars, don't trust them, save sparkling Clearwater, stamp out Scientology, yada, yada. So now I'm supposed to handle this. And this is hundreds of people. I'm not kidding. They're marching, they're driving, they're honking, it's just a mess. So I go up to this first lady, she's an older woman holding an American flag and something against Scientology. And I said, look, what are you doing? This is my religion. And my son starts crying because he's a baby and, they're honking and he starts crying. And she starts bitching about Scientology. And I said, look, the only product you have here is my son. You're a grandmother. Because I'd already asked her, are you a grandmother? And she said, yes. I said, you're a grandmother. And look at what's happening. I mean, this isn't any good. Go home. Put down your flags and go home. And she did. She put down her flags and she left. So I just started going person to person. Then I'd start going to meetings and talking to them at meetings and different things. And it got really intense because finally they wanted me to meet Richard or go in and join Safe Sparkling Clearwater. So I did. I went with a few people and we said, we're here to join Safe Sparkling Clearwater. Of course, they don't know who we are. And this older lady says, oh, wonderful. Come on in. So I go in and the next thing I know, Richard Tenney is there, the city commissioner. And I said, and Richard Libby, who's a journalist. And Richard Libby, at the time, had been writing many, many falsehoods about Scientologists. At least that's what Scientology said. I have no idea. But that's what they said. So that was in my head. So Libby's there and Richard Tenney. And I say to Richard Tenney, look, you're my city commissioner. You've got to help us with this. And he goes, I am not your city commissioner. And I said, you're going to say in front of a journalist that because of my religion, you're not my city commissioner? Excuse me. And he says, that's correct. And Richard Libby's like writing like mad. You can see he's got this little notebook and he's like writing like mad. And he's a little short guy. And I think, God damn it, he's probably going to write a bunch of lies about me. So I just take his notebook. I'm 5'7", right? And so I just take his notebook and I say, look, if you ever write anything that isn't true about what I said, I'm going to personally come out to your house. Now, I've never hit anybody in my life. I wouldn't even know how to start. You know what I mean? But I was so ticked off at him and thinking he's going to write a bunch of lies about me. So I said that. And he never wrote a lie about me. Not one. Not one. But anyway, the end of it was I ended up going to a big meeting with all the kind of opinion leaders of the town. And Richard Tenney was there. And Sophie says, it's interesting that Scientology is so paranoid about government agencies, yet they behave kind of like them with their own espionage. Exactly. Totally. 100%. I mean, I used to say they're like the mafia until the critics would say, don't call them the mafia. You're giving the mafia a bad name. But anyway, I'm at this big meeting, and Scientology had always wanted me to be able to ask them specific questions in person because they didn't feel like he could really answer it. He had all these kind of, set questions and answers. So this one, it was just questions and answers, right? And I was with, I think, Shirley Young's husband. He was there, and they said, don't ever go alone. So I'm there with him, and he just blows out of the area. He freaks out and blows out. So now I'm there by myself. And Richard Tenney's blabbing on about how awful Scientology is. And so I just looked at him and I said, look, if you're going to be our city commissioner, or you're going to be our mayor, because that's what he was running for, I want you to explain to these people how you could be in front of a journalist and say, just because of my religion, you're not my city commissioner. You're not my city commissioner now, and you won't be my mayor if I make it, if you win. And he looks into the microphone and he goes, ladies and gentlemen, I went to Washington, D.C., and the people there said they were Scientologists, and they weren't. And I went to blah, and they said they were Scientologists, and they weren't. And now this lady says she is a citizen of Clearwater. And I said, no, I said Clearwater and surrounding areas, because we lived in Largo, which is right next to Clearwater. But that's what I said when I went to join. I said, we're from Clearwater and surrounding areas, because some of the people were Clearwater and I was from Largo. And he goes like this, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. She is not even a member of Clearwater. And they just cheer. I mean, it was one of the few times when I just nearly fell apart. I mean, it was just like, I've never had so many people cheer so loud and just like, screw me, right? And so I wanted to burst out crying, but I just thought, no, I'm not going to do it. And so I just started looking at it. I'm okay, I get it. You guys are definitely twisted and upset about me. And okay, I hear you. I just kept going like that. All right. And they just kept cheering. And finally it ended. And there was a line of about 8 people, and they all wanted to meet me. And they all shook my hand and they said, we just want to let you know, we think your question was a very good question. And we're sorry that he answered the way he did. And each one of them said that. It was really nice. So then I went back to talk to Milt Wolf, and I said, look, my mother was a big party person. It was like, whatever she needed, let's have a party, and that'll do it. We'll bring the people together. We'll paint the living room, or we'll paint the new family room, and then we'll have a party afterwards. Or it's the leaves all fell down. It's fall. Let's have a leaf raking party, and then we'll have a party afterwards. Whatever. She was crazy about parties. So I sort of grew up with have a party. And I said, these people all think we have long fangs. You could tell from talking to them. They really didn't trust the people of Scientology. And most of the people of Scientology are good people. It's the management that is really creepy. But the people are good people. And I said, these people think we all have really long fangs. And I said, I think we need to have a party. And nobody can talk about Scientology. They can introduce themselves, tell if they're a doctor, dentist, mother, father, whatever they do as a living, they can mention, but that's it. And the rest is talk to them and listen to them. And that was it. The vote was a couple of weeks after that, and it was like a landslide. He lost, and so it was I went from just kind of like Joan Zero, who nobody knew, to now everybody was like, call Tori, she can handle it, just call Tori, And we came back to LA, and the word had come all the way across to LA. And it was like, hi, this is Osa. We need some help with this. And it was just very funny. I mean, all the way up to we went up to see the governor, and that was a thing there where, I told you guys that story. But anyway, it just was the beginning of me trying to help them. I wasn't really on staff. I was just like a volunteer. But because I had that success, I was like, all right, I'll try it. That was my thing. It's like, I'll give it a try. I'll see what I can do. And there you go. So that's the end of that story. So, okay. So that's that. And the other one, someone else, that should have been your sign to leave. Yeah, there were many, there were many signs, dear, that I should have been my sign. I mean, way back in the 72, when I was having grand mal seizures, when they took me off my medicine, that's when I should have been the sign to leave. And actually, the sign to leave should have been when I walked up to Scientology. If you've ever read the book Blink, it says your first instinct is often correct. And they give a ton of live examples that you and I have lived through where people didn't follow their first instinct, and it doesn't go well for them. And I thought, I had to think about it. And I thought, my first instinct with Scientology was, this is some weird ass group and not friendly. And they've all got these uniforms on and these giant pictures of Hubbard, and super organized, and I was a hippie. It was just like, I should have just walked away. That's what I should have done, but I didn't. And I ended up talking to my friend. And once I met the auditors, I thought, I don't care. I remember turning off my critical thinking and thinking, I don't care what these people do. I want to be an auditor. That's what I want to be. That's why I got in Scientology. I didn't get in Scientology to go clear. Like a lot of people did join Scientology to become OT or clear. And that was never my goal. My goal was to help other people. So it's ironic, but I'm actually, since I left, I've been able to help hundreds of people, probably thousands of people. But when I was in, not really, a little, but not much. It really wasn't much. So anyway, there's that. And then another person had asked me, I had mentioned, or he'd read about the Scientology Parishioners League. Have any of you heard that name before? Anyway, what happened, I think I've explained it a couple of times, but in case you missed it, it's short. I was here in my house, and Osa called me and said, we need some help. There's a guy that's a writer, and he wants to start a group. And we just need some of your ideas of what he can do. Now, by now, I'd done a whole bunch of stuff helping them, and they'd been pretty successful. So I go over there, and he's a writer who's done nothing. He did, I think, one thing that was like a group thing that helped. And so I'm listening to him, and I'm thinking, this guy's not going to be able to get what they need. They wanted all of the negative LRH, anything written about LRH handled. And that takes some doing. And I thought, this guy isn't going to be able to do it. He may be a writer, but you've got to be able to think and talk to people to handle something like that. And so they said, okay, let's go around the room. And there were like 6 people. What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? And what have I done? And it was like they'd each done 1 or 2 things, and I'd done like 20 things. And so she just said, okay, that's it. You're going to be, you're it. You're the head of it. And I said, I don't want to be the head of it. No, you called me and said you wanted some ideas, and I brought them over, and that's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything more. And she said, Tori, I'm the vice president of OSA. And yes, you are going to be in charge of it. That's it. We need you. You have the most experience. You're the most able, and that's it. And it was just sort of like, okay, there we go. So now we came up with the name, the Scientology Parishioners League, because they had already told me we've got to change Scientology more into a religion, because it's not thought of as a religion. They didn't say cult, but it was just not thought of. It was sort of like a half-assed group of people, kind of like hippies and, group of people that, were okay, creative and stuff like that, but we weren't really a religion. Do you know what I mean? And so she said, we have to change Scientology into where people think of it as a real religion. And I realized then they're going to have to change the tech, because there's so many things Hubbard says that are just disgusting that would not fly in a religion. It just would never happen. And sure enough, they started with the, like Hubbard originally, keeping Scientology working, you cannot change a thing, not one thing. You can't change anything in the text, not a comma, not apostrophe, nothing, a word, nothing. So now he dies and Miscavige takes over, and Miscavige, just comes up with the basic books. And I was online at the time and I said, this is a test to see if the Scientologists will go for it, if they'll buy it. Do you see what I mean? And it's like, if they'll buy it, then they can change all the tech. If they won't, then they got to cut back. Well, everybody bought it. They bought the books, new books. They look better. There's better typing, all this shit. It was like keeping Scientology working just went out the window, man. It was amazing. I was like, oh my God. And so I said, the next thing's going to be the green and red volumes, because that's where the shit is that Hubbard has written about, that, they're just certain statements, but they're just awful. Some very racist, some, against gays, just bunches of stuff against me, because I'm in the same category as a gay person. They saying we're 1-1. Anyone with a neurological illness is 1.1. And he says 1.1 is the most evil tone level of all the tone levels. So, I was always like, screw you. It's like sort of like I told you, because I was on my medicine and people would constantly say, how could you be on medication and be in Scientology? And I'd say from one sentence, if it isn't true for you, it isn't true. And until you have a grand mal seizure, you can take a walk, because I have nothing more to say to you. I was just like, I crossed people off my list, like, shh, you're off my list. You're off my list. It was just sort of like, no, if you're going to be shitty to me about my medicine, you're off my list. That was it. I mean, it was like a survival mechanism that I had to do. And so I didn't have tons of friends. I had some very close friends, and that was it. But they're very dear to me to this day, because I wasn't one of those people with thousands. I mean, I had thousands of acquaintances, but I knew I couldn't count on them, because they were people that were against my medicine, and that would have killed me. So there you go. Yeah. So Sophie says that about the government. Now, Dragonfly says, question, do you think there are under the radar people watching now and looking for their sign to leave? I do think there's people under the radar watching. Has anybody kept track of the lights? Because remember, I can't see the likes, but often that'll tell me. Like there's 153 people in the room per StreamYard, but I don't know how many likes there are. So if you can let me know, that would help. But often by the end, there's like, let's say 160 people, there's 180 likes. Well, that means I think it doesn't necessarily prove that there's 20 people watching, but there could be, 5, 10, 15 people that are in the church, or they're still in that Truman Show. And they can't go on your side and say, I'm so-and-so, because they're afraid they'll lose their friends and their family, but they're waking up. Do you see what I mean? And so I'm hoping any day, any of them can call me and I will come pick you up. I will. And all you have to do, like I told you, the nearest door, the way out is the nearest door. So you just walk out. You know, if you're seaorg, you walk out. If you're public, you're already out. So you just have to decide, do you want to stay connected with your family and friends, which I know it's a huge leap. It is. It's big. But I'll tell you, Andreas said the right thing to me. He said, what kind of friends could those be if they're going to leave you because you change your mind? And you have to think about that, because I realized they weren't. They really are not friends. They are in the Scientology Truman Show. And so yes, they're wonderful people and they feel like friends, but they're not. When they're going to dump you just because you change your mind, no, that's not a friend. It's not. So why not make real friends? I mean, I have wonderful friends now that I love. And so it's a leap. It's a big deal. It's like getting divorced or something. It's a big deal. But once you do it, oftentimes it's better. So yeah, I think you're right, Dragonfly. All right, now Adrian says, OSA must have had you on speed dial with all the times they needed your help. Yeah, I did. I admit, because I was good at what I did, which was PR. You know, I was just good at PR. I grew up with my dad was on TV with NBC broadcasting and funny and just a good guy. And my mom was kind of a natural PR in the community. So I just kind of grew up with those skills. And I was able to get certain things done that for whatever reason, nobody else thought they could. So yeah, they'd call me. And I think my favorite one is the one about the hair. Has anybody not heard that one about the hair? When I went up to the governor's thing in California, let me know if you haven't, because it's funny and it's short. But if you've all heard it, I won't say it again. All right, let's see. Spartacus is SP Articus I am. If you're looking for your sign to leave, here's a sign. Leave and we will be here for you. Good. Yeah, I like that. I know from being in it, it's sort of like they have to make up their own mind that they want to take back their life. You see what I mean? That's the key thing. Because who is going to be there for them? They don't trust us right now. Not really. If they really did, they'd walk out the door. But they don't. And Scientology is put in their head, we're just a bunch of evil, crazy people and, against their church and and all this stuff. So it's kind of like we can say, well, we'll be here for you when you leave. But first, we've got to help you open up your mind and think about, define freedom, define free speech, define what is it? What does it mean to be free? Are you free when an organization tells you you cannot read 3 books? Can you possibly say that you're free with that? No. And that's just one of 1,000 things that they have, as things. Please tell the hero story. Oh, I love it. You're so cute. I don't know where your thing is. Let me see. Wait, let me see. Sorry, I didn't see it, but I saw it over there. Oh, here's a few things. Tell us the story. Kelly said it. Oh, and here's Lovett saying that. Okay. So I have told it to a few people, but it's short. Anyway, they had come up with this is what we heard, was that they'd come up with a new deal in high school where kids could go into high school and get an okay to get an abortion without ever telling their parents. And I have nothing against abortions if you need one or you want one or for whatever reason. But I do not think young kids should get an abortion without their parents knowing. I just thought that's going to end up being really icky in the family with them, big secrets. It's just not a good thing. So this lady came on the radio and she said, look, anyone, especially mothers, please go up to, the governor's office and talk to him about it. So my friend and I did. We went up there and we talked to him. We told him what we thought, filled out some forms, and now we're on our way back and we have to fly back. So we're on our way. My hair's a mess. And so I said, I'm just going to jump in and get my hair washed, forgetting that I have like 3 heads of hair. So to blow dry my hair takes about an hour, right? So she washed it. And then I said, yeah, I really don't have time to have you blow dry it. So there you go. Normally I get it blow dried. So now we're outside with my washed hair that's wet. And I say to my friend, hey, let's go by the Scientology mission. It's right here. And we see there's 2 guys out in front. One has a sign against Scientology and one has a Xenu doll. And they're walking up and back down the street, right? And so I said, well, let's go into the Scientology Center, because I don't give a shit about that stuff. I've been handling all kinds of stuff. This is nothing for me. They've been sending me out with 10, people, yelling and screaming and all kinds of stuff, whole bunches of people. So 2 people, nothing. So I said, let's go in. So we go in, and there's all these people are like crowded in the corner of the mission. And I walk in and I say, what is going on? And this guy says, oh my God, thank God, Tori's here. And I think, what is this? And it was a guy from LA who knew me. And he said, if you can get her to help handle this, she probably can. And so then the head of the mission said, would you? And I said, I'll give it a try. I mean, that's always my thing. It's like, I'll give it a try. I can't say, yes, I know I can, because who knows how crazy they are, but I'll try. So I go out and I'm talking to this guy. And, as I'm talking to him, he's just stiff as he's rigid as can be. And he's walking along, and the other guy's got the Xenu doll going back and forth. And, and I'm like, well, what do you know about Scientology? And he's not answering. And I don't know. I don't even remember what I asked him, but I'm looking at him, and it's like if there's a window, I always have trouble doing this, but if there's a window and then he's on this side of it, and then I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. Let me try it from this way. It's like, anyway, there's a window. I'm next to the window, and then next to that, or no, he's next to the window. There's the window. I don't know why I can't do it. It's really freaky. I can't. There's a window like against a wall. Let's just say this. Here's the wall, right? And then next to it is this guy protesting. And then out in front of him is me, right? So it's like 1, 2, 3. And I'm looking at him, but I'm seeing my reflection in the window. And I think, God, my hair looks awful. And I'm trying to talk to him about Scientology, but I keep looking at my hair and I think, God, my hair looks awful. And he's not talking to me at all. It's like, this is not flying at all. So finally I say, can I ask you a question? Like, what do you think about my hair? And he keeps walking along. And I said, no, honestly, I mean, I really want you to look at my hair and tell me, do you think I screwed it up? Because I just got it washed and trimmed and it looks kind of awful. And I just I want another opinion. Can you just look at it and see? And all of a sudden he bursts out laughing. And I go, what? And he goes, my mother always asks me that question and I never know what to say. And he looks at his friend with the Xenu doll and he goes, let's go home. And they both pack up and they leave. And I go inside and they go, what did you do? And I said, I just asked him about my hair. What do you think about my hair? So I wrote that up to Mike Rinder. When I left, I wrote that Mike Rinder was still in. And I wrote it up, and he was the head of PR. And I wrote it up to him and I said, because I knew these PR guys were always going out there. What are your crimes? What are your overs? What have you done? And that never works. And people just stay all day. So I wrote it to him and I said, my biggest win, many of my wins were just talking to people, communicating with them, finding out why they were there, that kind of thing. And then a lot of times they'd leave. And I said, my biggest win was my hair because it was so quick. It was just like, how do you like my hair? How do you like my hair? And the third time he bursts out laughing and he goes, my mom always asked me that question. I never know what to say. Let's go home. But, it's funny because people do think you have special skills or something. It's not really. It's just common sense kind of thing. So anyway, that's my hair story. But thank you for asking, and I hope it wasn't too much for the guys that have already heard it. Let me just go up here because there's a few things. Who is it hardest to leave? What does that mean? Who is it hardest for to leave? I think people who have family in, that's the hardest because, you know, you're going to lose your family if you leave. People who are single, it's not that big a deal. Even if it's a couple, because the couple can leave, you know, often. It just depends. You know, like Harold had been born in it and he was never in on any of the OSA stuff ever. Because I knew he couldn't handle it. He was terrified of SPs. So he's probably terrified of me. And it's so stupid, you know, when you think about it, it's like, how scary am I? You know? Okay, so now what is this? If you're looking for your sign to leave, oh, okay, we did that one. All right, now let's see this. This is Sophie. I love that, Tori. You are so strong, but I know they build them tough in Chicago. Yeah, my dad was very strong. It wasn't from Chicago because he's actually from St. Louis, but he grew up, you know, I grew up in Chicago in the suburbs, but he really helped me. He taught me how to handle bullies, and that was a big deal for me. And when I came to leaving Scientology. Okay, so we said who's the hardest, which I think is true, which is people with their families. Now this says, not a friend. Sometimes it just takes a simple comment like Andrea said to you, really makes you think. Well, it's true, but remember, people often don't realize I had spent 10 years reading self-improvement books, philosophy, other religions, writers, you know, so I had my own kind of waking up process that I think stripped off a lot of the mind control so I could hear Andreas. Do you see what I mean? If I had just gone from being in the cult to Andreas, I doubt if I would have woken up. You know, it just wouldn't have happened. But because I had spent 10 years reading books trying to handle headaches, because I had massive migraine headaches, which turned out to be just part of premenopause, but I didn't know that. And so I started reading those books because I knew OT7 wasn't going to fix it. And neither was Scientology, nothing was. So I started reading these other books and they were great. It was like, oh my God, these guys have great material. You know, it was really shocking for me. It really was. All right. So Fluffer Squirrel, or UK question. What does Scientology think a psychiatrist is if they believe they outdated humans? Are they like spirits or do they have a physical form? Sorry if that's silly, but I have always wondered. No, it's not silly, but it's kind of an interesting question. I don't think, see, you have to understand a little bit, like if they believe they outdate humans, are they like spirits or do they have physical form? They definitely have a physical form. They're people. You know what I mean? They're definitely people. And what do they think they are? They just think they're seriously evil people. And you have to understand, where did that come from? It really started way back. This is my interpretation from talking to Flo, who was in it from 1950. And originally they were Dianeticists. They weren't Scientologists. They were Dianeticists using Dianetics. And then Hubbard decided, if you want to make money, start a religion. He didn't say that to them, but he started the Church of Scientology. And a lot of the Dianeticists said, not us. We're not going to be part of a church. And they left. So I think that's when Hubbard came up with the PTSSP, because he had to draw a line and say, you can't talk to those people. They're suppressive and they're evil. And you know what I mean? He had to really like pump it up. They're really bad and you don't want to talk to them, because otherwise the other Dianeticists would leave too. You know, the other people would go, oh yeah, you're right. Let's just stay out here and do Dianetics. We'll be fine. So I think that's what happened. But as a result of it, Scientology has created these psychiatrists to be incredibly evil, horrible people who are drugging millions of people. You can see that in Magoo Dancing in Boston. That guy says, well, what do you think of the 60 billion people that are being drugged every day by psychiatry? And I said, well, what do you think? It's like, what does that have to do with the price of eggs? Do you know what I mean? It's like, we're here talking about Scientology, and you throw in psychiatry and this false statistic that I don't think is true. Anyway, Scientologists are crazy on it, but they've bought into it, and now they're like hardcore how evil psychiatry is. Now, having known 4 kids that had killed themselves, one of them being one of our dear friends, who was I think he was 21 when he shot himself, and his mother was my best friend. So it was awful. And I knew a lot of these kids. I knew Philip Gale, Liz Gale's brother, who jumped out of a 15-story window on L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. And the kids from that college, see, Scientology didn't say anything about it because they just, all those suicides, which are 17 now that I know of, they just sweep under the rug. But the kids at the university where Philip was put up a big website about it and explained it and said he was very depressed and he really needed help. But Philip's mother was in charge of CCHR, which is Citizens Commission on Human Rights, which is against all psychiatry. So, of course, he couldn't get any therapy. So he ended up jumping out of a window on L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. So it had a message, and they put that in there. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool that those kids did that in honor of him. I really did. And I think Liz is just great. I mean, I think it's fantastic that she's gotten out and she's doing so well. It's really good. Okay. And she has a YouTube site you can check out too. Liz Gale. I think it's Liz Gale. I think, or Liz Gale. I think that's it. I think Aaron, probably because there's more than one Liz Gale. So he changed to Liz Gale. I think it's one Gale. It might be 2 Gale. You have to look it up. Okay, so Dragonfly, you've not heard about the hair. So now you have. You've heard it. All right. And I told it to you. So that's good. I'm glad you guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, Mark Bunker just posted Xenu at the Movies video in 4K. Westwood hasn't changed at all. Wow. Was it at the movies? For real? Xenu at the Movies. I'll have to see that. Well, good. I'm glad he's making another video. I didn't know they posted. I didn't know that they had that. That'll be interesting. Yeah, Westwood hasn't changed that much. Some parts of LA have changed dramatically, but not Westwood. It really hasn't. Okay, Sophie, well, I'm glad you hadn't heard the hair story, so now you have. And I hope you liked it. Oh, okay. Dragonfly made a comment. Jay from Denver Audit had a conversation with a Scientologist earlier who said he had mental issues, and I believe he said he was on medication. The poor man was so confused. I felt so bad. Yeah, because see, if you're on medication and you're in Scientology, they make you so wrong. It's just awful. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I imagine they are. And so it's kind of terrible. It really is. Like I said, I mean, I had to create my own survival mechanisms because I couldn't take it. These people that'd be like, oh, he's PTS. And, if they said PTS 3 times, they were off my list. That's it. I'm not going to talk to them again. No. And I was, you can tell I'm a strong person, but it's like I had to do certain survival things because it was just too awful. And the way they'd talk about people, it was just awful. And I was just like, no, I don't need to talk to that person again. And some people say, oh, no, they're having a party. I say, good, go. Not me. No. A lot of them never even knew they were off my list, but they were. Yeah, love it. Thank you. Press the like button and somebody let us know how many likes there are so we can keep track of it. Don't worry, Tori, we can get it. You mean as far as the hair? I knew you could get it. It was just I didn't know if you wanted to hear it. I've never heard the hair story. Okay, psych on the racks, on the rocks. Wow, that's a good Nick. Psych on the rocks. That is funny. That is a funny one. I hope you're saying it in a jesty way. You're not really on the rocks. All right, Dragonfly, the hair story. I know it was really kind of amazing, isn't it? It really it kind of mind blowing. Okay, yes, Troy, I understand it's a whole process. Given how open minded and intelligent you are, and I love how you said you were ready to hear what Andreas was saying. Yeah. And that's from reading, that's from a lot of books. I mean, my husband used to tease me all the time because I'd come home with a new book and he'd say, not another one of your secret libraries. And I'd say, yeah, it is. And see, he wouldn't touch it. He would never read another book. It was like Scientology, that's it. And I was like, okay. So I sort of knew we were kind of going in these different paths because I didn't know it was stripping off the mind control, but I did know I could feel I was growing. Like one of the things, I think I've told most of you this, but I'll tell it again because it's a great one. And if you're in, it's a great one to do. He said, it was in a book and it said, make a list of the top 50 people you respect. I thought, well, that's good. So I sit down and I make out my little list of 50 people. They're artists, musicians, writers, activists, all kinds of things, educators, everything. And at the end, I looked at it and I realized not one person on that list was a Scientologist. And I thought, is there a great Scientologist? And not really. I mean, there were some that were musicians that I really thought were great, but they weren't on my great list of 50 people. It was just an interesting, like, wow, that kind of thing where it's just sort of like, oh, interesting. So those kind of things got me thinking in different ways. I joined Weight Watchers and she said, have a committee meeting. And I said, can I ask you what a committee meeting is? Because Scientology had been making me wrong for thinking. The higher up you get, the less you should be thinking. You just should be knowing, right? So here I am. She's saying, have a committee meeting. I'm like, well, what the hell is that? And she's like, you go into a grocery store. Should I have a donut? Should I have an apple? Should I have a donut? Should I have an apple? And she said, make a better choice. Get the apple. And I thought, wow. I mean, that talk about a Truman Show crack. It was like, wow. She said everybody does it. The way she said it, it was so like everybody does it. And they were the opposite. They made me feel like this is your case. You're the only person that can't walk down the street and not think. So see if you can walk down the street and not think. Now, later when I got out, I was at a party and there were all these top auditors and CSs. And I told them that story and they said, that is the squirreliest CS, because the CS was see if you can walk down the street and not think. And, I got to the second driveway and I was thinking and I just thought, that's it. And I went like this because they have a thing called the scissor tech on OT7, where if you can't get rid of the BTs and clusters, you just do the scissor tech. Well, you really do it in your mind. It's just a mental cutting of any kind of thing that's connected to you. But I stood out in the street and went, that's it. Go away. I am done for this lifetime and next lifetime and the lifetime after that. I am never ever going to do auditing again. I mean, I was like adamant. It was like done. So anyway, there you go. I forgot what got me on that rant. Now this is Sophie. I understand it's a whole process given how open mind. Okay. You said you're ready to hear. Oh yeah. So it was the reading, though, that got me to strip off stuff so that I was able to hear him. And I cannot emphasize reading enough. It's so important. Rest in peace, Philip Gale. Yeah. And many thousands, hundreds and hundreds of friends of mine that, James Dries, he was the one who shot himself. Rest in peace. But I mean, it was just amazing how many people died in Scientology and still do all the time, way too young. Okay, here's Spartacus I Am. I think LRH got his feelings hurt because Dianetics was rejected by the psychological and medical establishments as pseudoscientific. His ego couldn't handle it, so he decided to say all psychs are evil. I think that's part of it, definitely. But I also think a big part of it was from listening to Flo, who was there, was all these Dianeticists left. And it was like, wait a minute. We can't have this going on, and they can't talk to them or they're going to leave. Yeah, this is true. Rest in peace. All those beautiful people gone way too soon. I know, it's such a shame, and they're still going way too soon. It was the one where Bunker was outside the premiere of the Travolta movie. Ah, okay, good. Well, good. I'm glad he's putting that up. Oh, I did this. I fancied sitting at the stress table and giving the clear cognition immediately upon grabbing the cans. Now, see, here's the thing. They would not know that was the clear cognition, even if you told it to them, even if you said this is the clear cognition, because they have so much mind control going on of not listening to anything end theta or bad news. So, and immediately someone would come and say, oh, come on, that's not the clear cognition. And then that's it, gone, done. But I did it once where they had it was at the AMC here in Burbank, and they had their little table out and they were doing stress tests. And so I just sat down and I picked up the cans, and she said, do you want to do a stress test? And I said, yeah, I would. And she said, okay. So she sets up she starts the meter, and I knew she was from another country because they don't know me, right? Because they're from other countries. And she goes, so what is stressing you out? And I said, David Miscavige. And the meter goes, bam! It's like, which is a big, like, shows a whole lot of charge on it or something. For me, it was just sort of goofing around. But this guy came running down the thing and said, get away from her. Don't talk to her. She's suppressive. And I had told her, I said, believe me, they're going to come and tell you not to listen to me. And sure enough, they came. Okay, well, this is sort of okay. You're at 139 likes. Too many here to not have hit it. Yeah, there's 200 people here, and we're at 139 likes. So come on, you guys, please hit the like button. Too many here to have not hit it. Yeah, so please do that. Hi, Fiona. Didn't even see Fiona come in. All right. Hi, Tori. And those at midnight. Okay, there we go. With Magoo Gang. Thank you. Thank you, Fiona. Thanks for coming in. All right. Okay, good. Thank you, guys. Can someone think how to send super chats? Yeah, I need that too. If anybody knows how to do the super chats, I know someone just told me today you have to that you have to get monetized first, and then you can do super chats. So I don't think you can do them until you're monetized. And we're kind of at a stuck thing, and I'm trying to get somebody to help me unstick it. All right. Okay. No super chats yet, but Tori does have PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. That's right. Links are on her channel. Yeah, you just go to the main page, and it says underneath my name, it says for more information, and that then has Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, those kind of things. So there you go on that. Squirrel of Oz. Look at these hearts. There you go. All right. And then, Tori, what are some of the books you read? Well, a couple of them that I read right away was You Can Change Your Life by Louise Hay. And remember, I had massive migraine headaches. And I saw these gay guys. This was back when gay people were dying of AIDS. And these guys had AIDS. And they came on TV. And I saw it. And they said, we did this book. And now we're good. You know, we're alive and well. And I went, I'm getting that book. And I did. I went and bought the book. I have it right over there. And I bought the book and read it. And it really helped me. And then another one that I really pitch a lot is the Four Agreements. It's helped me to this day. And the other one, ironically, was, let's see if I can remember the name of it. I can't remember it. Anyway, there's a bunch of them. I have a whole bunch of them. So I'll have to make a list and then I can tell you, because I can't remember them off the top of my head. But you know, Blink, that was one. And there's another one that the author of Blink did before that I did that one too. And it's just sort of like what I did is I went through a bookstore and just walked through different sections like philosophy, self-improvement, religions, writing, you know, just different things that you might be interested in. And then I'd kind of see a title and open it up. And if I liked it, I'd get it. And if I didn't, I wouldn't. You know, it was pretty simple, but it really works. And you can also go to the library and then it's free. I wanted to have them as my own books. So that's what happened. But I'll make a list of them for you. Let's see, Fiona. All right. I think Tori could make reading a phone book sound interesting and find a story or share some pearls of wisdom to share with us of wisdom. Now, come on. It's not that bad. I know my mother-in-law used to say you could sell sand to somebody in the desert if you believed in it. And that's true. I can if I believe in it. I have to believe in it. I couldn't do the phone book because I don't, you know, it would be like, no, I wouldn't do that. But I know what you mean as far as finding a story or share some pearls of wisdom. That's kind of true. I do. And I appreciate that you guys are so kind and receiving and asking questions. I love that. What is this? Kate says, really enjoying listening to you tonight, Tori. I have hit the like popcorn yellow striped smile. Thank you. Thank you so much. Tori has also an Amazon wish list. Okay, that's good. That's right. The address is Whole Foods Burbank. Yeah, where it can be sent to it. Yeah. I'm having, back surgery. Ouch. In the morning? Wow. So thank you for helping me keep my mind off of it. You are welcome, Elaine. And it'll go quick. It's amazing how quick surgery is now these days. But we wish you the best, definitely. And here's from Lovette. She's sending good vibes for an easy surgery and a speedy recovery. Definitely come let us know how you're doing as soon as you can. I know how surgery is. It might be a day or two before you're ready to get back online, or it might be a week, whatever, but it'll happen. The Louise Hay book is You Can Heal Your Life. Okay, it's a classic. Thank you, Jerkin. That's good. Yep, that's it. You can heal your life. And, you know, I thought, hey, if these guys had AIDS, I just have headaches. I'm going to do it. And I loved it. It really, really helped me. The biggest thing that changed my life was Weight Watchers, because I was 100 pounds overweight and I started losing weight. And that was amazing to just get in control of that after years of dieting and eating and dieting and eating, and finally realizing I don't know how to eat. I don't know how to eat for one day. So I joined Weight Watchers for that reason. And when she said that thing of like, you know, make a committee, have a committee meeting. And I was like, because I always felt like I had these people in my head talking, which it was really just me thinking. It's not like I had other people. It was just me thinking. But because they made thinking on the no to mystery scale is like at the bottom of Scientology, so thinkingness is very, come on, you don't want to be thinking. And so when she said everybody does it, I was like, everybody does what? And she's like, they make committee meetings. They think about it. Should I do this? Should I do that? And she said, just make a better choice. And that was a big change for me, big change. And I started losing weight. She had a lot of great one-liners. Her name was Flora. And she unfortunately passed away, but she was really, really great. Good morning. Caught the end of your live chat. I will start after you're done. Okay. All right. I hope you enjoy it. Question. Hi from the UK, Tori. Is it possible that many seaorg folk are so committed that Miscavige could one day order a mass dropping of the bodies event like the Jonestown catastrophe? Now, that's a good question. Thank you, Jeepers. Now, for years, people asked me that question. And for years, my answer was never. Scientology would never be in that boat because I, as a public, would never do that. Even if Miscavige ordered me to, it'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. But I talked to Mark Headley, who was up at INT, which is the big executive thing out at Hemet at the time. And I asked him that same question. Now he's out, but being out, I asked him when you were in, do you think that could happen? And his answer was 100%. If Miscavige ordered it, we would have done it. Spooky, really spooky. Seaorg, the way out is the nearest door. And Miscavige probably isn't that far from doing this. Do you know what I mean? It's like I could see him doing it. I could. I don't know. Maybe he won't, but I wouldn't, why stay in? It's a mess. It's just a mess. Okay, so there you go, Jeepers. It's a terrifying thought. It is. It scared me. It was like, oh my God, really? I never thought of that. I always would say, no, they would never do that. I just didn't think they were that nuts. But he said, Mark told me a lot of things. They have a ton of ammunition out at Hemet in the ground, buried in the ground. And, he just said people were under his thumb, that they, that, shit happens. Okay, this is from Joe. She said she had her biopsy last Thursday, and I've missed your lives as I've been getting up later in the morning. I'm still sore, but you definitely help ease the pain. Oh, good, Joe. I'm glad. I'm glad you had the biopsy. Good, congratulations. That's a big step, and it's a good step. So that's good, and I'm glad you're better already. Okay, so 50 of you rascals haven't hit the button yet, the like button. Come on, friends. It takes only a second. All right, so now it is 1:35. We're going to see how many seconds it takes until 50 people hit the like button. Come on, you can do it. In addition to the great books you've recommended, do you have any movies you recommend us watching? I'm kind of a funny movie person. I mean, I love all kinds of movies. So I don't really have any movies that, I don't know, like to me, as far as education, for sure, The Truman Show, that's one that I say all the time watch and I say watch it a bunch of times because you don't really get it the first few times. It's sort of like you have to watch it and then all of a sudden it clicks in. It's like, God, this is just like Scientology. It's really spooky. But I love the Shawshank Redemption. I love The Holiday. It's all ranges of things. I love movies in general. The only thing I don't like is war. I'm not I'm not a big war person. And I had a roommate who was really into watching World War II over and over and over. And I would just think, what is it? Where someone has to just see that over and over and over and over. I mean, I get it's kind of amazing. It is that people can get that brainwashed and follow along. But, after a while, it's like it is what it is. We know what it is. Okay, good, Kimberly. Thank you. She said she always hits the like button on the way in. Good plan. And Christina says the same. Thank you. All right. So, and Fiona says to Elaine Morris, my prayers and thoughts, along with the prayers for successful surgery and quick recovery. Me too. I think we all feel that way. We're with you. And hopefully it will go. I'm pretty sure it will. Medicine has come. So I was telling someone today that, medicine has come a long way. It really has. It's kind of amazing when you think of it. I was telling one of my friends about one of my family members on my husband's side had cancer, and we were in Chicago. And he said, yeah, I'm really tired. And so I said, okay, let me check it out. And this was 20, 30 years ago. Well, probably 20 years ago, 25. And so I called UCLA and I said, yeah, my brother-in-law has this kind of cancer and he's really exhausted. And they said, okay, we're going to send him a pack. We'll send you a pack and you bring it to him. And I said, okay, she said, but right away, call him today and say, don't take vitamin C. We just found out today that it could kill him with the kind of cancer he had. And I just thought it's so amazing. That's how medicine is now. It just is constantly changing. You know what I mean? And Natalie and I were talking about it today on that, how, it just, and I also, and Natalie agrees with me, it's like we're hoping AI, because AI, one of the things they do is take everything that, hundreds of years of information have been collected, put it together, and out of the box come up with a different solution. And I thought, oh, that would be good on medicine. If they could come up with some different solutions that we wouldn't even think of. You know what I mean? Like I said to Natalie, like go stand on a plate for 10 hours. Okay, your cancer is gone. It's like, who would think? You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just a funny example, but it's like, I think it could be something like that where we just would never think of it. Anyway, okay, this is a good one. My favorite movie is The African Queen. I used to watch it with my grandparents every week. Aw, they passed away and I got a tattoo of one of the scenes. Oh my God, as a memory. But just love that movie. How sweet. Yeah, that's a good movie. It really is. And that's really sweet. I love that you did that you did the tattoo. That's really a great idea. See, that's what I do with my dad, because he passed away when I was 22. And so, when I started YouTube, I wasn't thinking Scientology or this or that. So I named it Tori, which is my name, Magoo, which was my nickname for my dad, and 44, which is his football number. Because I just thought I want to keep him close by. And my email is Tori Crispin 44, because his football number, for anybody who didn't see it, is 44. So there you go. He played for the Chicago Cardinals before most of you were even a thought. But anyway, there you go. Now let's see. But have you watched Cloud Atlas? I haven't, but thank you. Is it on Netflix? I don't have cable TV. So I'm a Netflix and I have an antenna. That's what I do. It's called Cloud. What was it? See, I already forgot it. Cloud. I think you said Cloud Access. Cloud Atlas. Okay. All right. No. Do you know if it's on, is it on Netflix? Anyway, I'm a big fiend of movies and books. I love both of them. And I love biographies, and I love, like Going Clear. Have you guys all seen Going Clear? I mean, that's an amazing movie about Scientology. It's really good. And anyway, I love biographies and history and stuff like that. But I also love comedy. And so 179 likes. All right. Well, we're closer. That's better. There's 220 people are here and 179 likes. So that's 20, 40 we're off. Well, we picked up 10. We're still off 40. Come on. And figure, even if there's 20 that have already left, there's 20 that could like it, and then we'd be up. All right. Anyway, let me check the blue thing because you said to do that. Oh, yep, you're right. All right, let's see. Okay, Raphael OL. Question: in addition to the great books you recommended, do you have any? Oh, that's the movies. Yeah. I can't really think of movies directly. I have to think about it. I will. Okay, now the Chloe says, the gentleman that approached me was part of the church. Is that normal for them to give out their personal number and full name without even asking for that? No. That's really fishy. Someone just walked up to you and gave you their name and phone number? No. And they're saying they're a Scientologist? I don't know. That sounds very... The gentleman that approached me was part of the church. Is it normal for them to give out their personal number and full name without even asking for that? I've never heard of that. Not ever. No. They normally never give out, they don't talk to anybody normally. And here in LA, they won't talk to anybody at all. It's like sealed out. They don't come outside. They probably use the tunnels to go back and forth. So no, and they certainly wouldn't give you their name and phone number. No. If you ask them, maybe, but anyway, that's odd. I think David Miscavige is forgetting to hit the like button on all these Midnight with Magoo videos. Come on, Davey. You know that you want to. Question: what years did your father play football? It was in the 40s. Let's see if it's on his card, because I'm kind of bad at this. You can look it up. Let's see. Pitch and Paul Chrisman. It's hard to read. I don't know. Look it up. Here's the back of the card. I don't know if you can read that. Anyway, look it up, because he has a webpage on there. And I think he's one of the reasons I started talking to Wikipedia. That's another thing I should tell you guys about if I haven't, because that's a really great story, but another time. Anyway, you can look it up. Paul Chrisman, Chicago Cardinals. That's who he played for. Oh no, Acer, did you miss the thing about the Scientology Parishioners League? Yes, I did. I explained about the whole thing. Boo. All right, you'll have to go back and listen to it then. Cloud Atlas is not on Netflix, darn it. Well, I can look it up on YouTube, though. Sometimes it's on YouTube. Good morning, Windy City Thetan Watch. All right, I like that name. That's good. That's good. All right. Cloud Atlas, it's a fantastic movie, but you have to watch it several times. It's long and complex. Yeah, not my favorite kind of movie, but I might. I'll try it. I'm a person, I can tell within 15 minutes if I want to watch the rest of it or not. And believe me, if it doesn't jump, it's like, nope, I'm not going to watch it, because especially long movies. It's like, unless they're really good. If it's really good, then I'll watch it. You said it's a fantastic movie, so all right, I'll give it a shot. I'll try to see if I can find it on YouTube. Okay, Jeepers. Hi, Tori. It seems that the vast majority of Scientologists are intelligent, well-meaning, but very misguided people. The bad ones are very few. Are they happy people, or is that not their goal? I think I would say I can't speak for the Sea Org because the guys that I knew in the Sea Org even seemed relatively happy because they were on post, they were doing their thing, they seemed pretty happy. And the public, my friends, we were all pretty happy. Yeah, I mean Scientologists are very productive people, and they're good people overall, and that I knew. I can't think of. I knew a few people that were bad people, but not many. Not really, not many. The executives, that's a different story. But even them, they're sort of in the Truman Show. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like, Miscavige was taught by L. Ron Hubbard. So it isn't like, I know everybody's against David Miscavige, but LRH wasn't exactly a prince himself. You know what I mean? He was popping pills while I was having grand mal seizures. So that really pissed me off when I found out that. It's like, how dare you? He was doing drugs and popping pills and drinking and everything, whereas he was making people like me who needed medicine, get off of it. Now, I don't know if he personally did it. I doubt if he did, but it was part of their policies they were following. So, yeah, I think most of them are well-meaning and misguided in that they've bought into the Scientology Truman Show. That's the only misguided that they have. And they stay in it, and it's kind of like once you're in it, you meet all these other nice, smart people, and you think this is a good group of people, so why would I leave? That's a big part of it because they're good and they're nice and they're fun. And, to me, it just seemed like it's a great group. Why would I leave it? Until I got into the top secret mafia. And you have to understand, very few people are in that kind of a dark corner. They don't ever get to see it. So they don't have any reason to leave. Do you see what I mean? I would have never left if he hadn't got me to open those phony accounts and they hadn't started acting mafia-like, and I hadn't gone on the internet, and that day they hadn't made the baking recipes, because that day was a baking recipe day, and Scientology, or yeah, I think it was whoever was posting on that thing was posting all these baking recipes. And in between it were critics saying, Scientology is changing my words. I didn't say that. And that's when I thought, I didn't get into Scientology to stop free speech. I can't do this. Even then, I was telling Natalie today, even then, I was just like, okay, I'll just meet with them and stop doing this, and that'll be that. And I'll be, I had no intention of leaving. None. I mean, it's just sort of stunning when you think about it. I'm going to go over the whole thing again with the OSA thing so everybody gets it, because we were talking about it, and she said, yeah, you got to do it again, because it's really amazing. But, I think people think all Scientologists have access to all this stuff, and they don't. That was my point about, who knows about the secrets. Most of them, not at all. They're just, they have their little secret of this didn't work. And Reg is going, don't worry about it. The next thing will work. That kind of thing. Okay. Okay, this is Spartacus I Am. The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Shin is a great book. The audiobook is free. Oh, good. That's good. Thank you. Thank you for that. I love that kind of thing. See, that's good. The Game of Life and How to Play It. Okay, and that's by Florence Shin. All right. And it's on YouTube? Okay, audio. I will check it out. Thank you. I love that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I like. Okay, Chloe, he asked some survey questions and then got to talking and gave me his number, name, and invited me to the church for a tour. He said he joined in the 50s. Well, I could see they probably have, I doubt if it's his own personal number because I don't think they have phones. I could be wrong though, but it could be a general phone number that you would call, that like CCHR and, like they have a bunch of them where the Way to Happiness, they have a phone number for that. So it could be any one of those numbers where they'll call and it's just a Scientologist answering it. And then they would handle you and try to get you in. That's what I think. But maybe he has his own phone by now. I have no idea. I've been out for 24 years, thankfully. So, all right. This is from Liz. Thank you, Tori. I will look up the info for your father. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. I've got to remember to tell you guys about Wikipedia. I think I did a short thing on Wikipedia, but what was the other thing I was going to tell you? I said, I've got to tell you. Oh, yeah, OSA. Yeah. Yeah, because it's important. It's important you understand it. Okay, Jurgen. Question. I was reading today about Elrich's third and final wife. Did you know anything about her or ever see her? She seemed to disappear into thin air and make some appearances here and there. Now, you're not talking about like his third and final wife. See, I've never really studied his whole thing because I didn't really like the guy. So it was like once I was out of his life, it was like, good, that's it. I don't want to read all these books about him and stuff like that. But do you mean Mary Sue? Are you talking about Mary Sue Hubbard? Because what happened was they locked her in a house and we would see her at the AMC. She would go there with bodyguards and she knew Harold from when he was a little boy. So she'd always stop and say hi to us. And, we'd talk for a minute, but she really couldn't see anybody. They cut her out. They cut her out of all the money, everything. She was just locked in the house. That was it. They'd take her out to the movies and stuff, but not really. So if you're talking about Mary Sue, that's what I know about her until she died. But no, she really couldn't talk to anybody. I think she had a few friends that could go over and talk to her, but not much. They really kept her pretty isolated because they didn't want her to talk. And if you mean someone else, let me know. This is good, YRB. I watched Fargo and Dr. Zhivago. I like Dr. Zhivago in August to cool my brain. That's a good movie. It is. I popped in late. I'll have to watch your talk about the SPL on replay. Okay, Acer, that's cool, but don't miss it because I really go into it in this one. It's kind of like past the halfway point of this. You can just kind of scoot along and then you can just keep scooting along until I say I'm going to talk about the Scientology Parishioners League. And the other thing is you can go up and you can see in the comments, because I asked people, do you want to hear about the Scientology Parishioners League? And at some point, a couple of people say, yes, they do. So that's when if there's a time thing, yeah, there are timestamps on it. So then you can see what time it is, what time I actually spoke about it. Question, are most seaorg members indoctrinated children and foreigners? No. The children thing is, I have a little difficult time with that because way when I was in the late 90s, they stopped letting seaorg people have children. Now, they may still be recruiting children from other countries, but I don't think they are much because it's a big deal. It's like it's a big deal for all of us. And so we've kind of been exposing it for years. So I kind of don't think most of the Sea Org, and plus you don't see them. I see Sea Org members, and not most of them are not children. They are, a lot of them are foreigners now because they've already gone through America, and everybody's like, no thanks. You know, they thankfully they've gotten educated and they're done. But I don't see a lot of kids. I don't. Maybe they're there and I'm just not seeing them. And so I'm trying to ask other people that are newly out if there are many kids. The same question you're asking. I know they're foreigners, so that I know they're after. And I every day, every single day, if I see, you know, I make sure to give out one card a day, if not more. And often they're from either young people or, and not kids, because that would be too weird. But from other countries, I definitely say, look, they're after you. They're after people from other countries. And they go, really? And I go, yeah, you speak 2 languages, right? And they go, yeah. And I go, there you go. That's why they want you. Plus, you're new to the country, so you haven't heard all the stuff that they do. I mean, of course, with the internet now, luckily, thankfully, a lot of people from other countries are learning about it. But I don't know about the indoctrinated children. We have to find out from someone. I mean, I know Serge talks about it a lot, but I don't know if it's recent stuff or what happened to him when he was in, which was awful. But I'm trying to find out somebody who newly left and if they know how many, you know, like an average of how many kids are still in, because I never see them. Walking around there. I haven't in a long time. And it makes sense because they wouldn't let them, you know, if you got pregnant, they sent you away to a class 5 org. You couldn't stay in a Sea org. Okay. I see. Flagrant Queen says, love it. Is Tori getting super chats soon? And she says, hopefully. Some issues and glitches with setting up monetization. Yeah, we got stuck on something, and I'm going to try to call him tomorrow because at least I got the name. So we'll see. We'll see if we can do it or not. But then, and she's answering this, that I do have the PayPal, Venmo, and Cashman in her bio. So there you go. Oh, the guy is likely not Sea Org, so he will have a phone. Oh, okay. But if he works for the church, I don't know. Okay, you mean Mary Sue Hubbard? Okay, yeah, that's what happened. She quickly got, you know, they sent her to prison. So, I mean, not they, Hubbard did. He said, I had nothing to do with this when he wrote the programs. He was like, I have nothing to do with this. Mary Sue did it. And he just threw her under the bus and sent her to prison. And then I think she was there for a year or two and then got out and was locked in a house. And that was it. You know, it was like, don't ask, don't tell. She's gone. She has nothing to say. Yeah, they didn't want her to say anything. And he did a good job of that. And you got to think, if you're in Scientology, you know, what are you supporting stuff like that? You have to think about it. Cloud Atlas is on Paramount Plus. Okay, just watch the trailer. Seems to have a reincarnation theme. Okay, though, of an X-File episode where Mulder and Scully are Civil War soldiers. Yeah, not my kind of movie. No. But thank you. That helps because I don't have that anyway. All right. Comment, Tori, I wanted to know, I think you're one of the most amazing humans on the planet, hardly. But thank you. I mean, that's really nice, Miss Sunshine Dawn. I've been watching some of your older videos and some of Mark Bunker's, and you're both awesome people. Thank you. Yeah, we both, Mark has helped many people because he filmed them, you know, so he got a lot of stuff. It reminds me of Johnny Carson. You know, Johnny Carson, I still watch his reruns because I love sort of the old, seeing the people that are real famous actors and actresses, or well, actors, because they're supposed to all be called actors. But I love seeing when they were younger and they came on Johnny Carson, and he used to love to make them into, or give them a stage, so they could do their shtick, whatever it was. And that's what Mark reminds me of. He got those films early on of a lot of us, and it's really great because they're there forever. So hopefully he'll start showing them all. But thank you very much, Miss Sunrise Dawn. That's very, very kind of you. Hi, Legend Tori. Hi, Marissa. And here's username. Hi. That has to be one of the more unusual usernames I've ever heard. Username. Okay. Yeah, I love watching Johnny Carson. I just watch him on my, because I have the antenna, so it's free. It's $20 one time, and that's it. And then I have tons of channels, and one of them is Carson, comes on every day, and I love watching the old ones. Okay, here's a comment from Jurgen. When I was a teen, I found the Dianetics book in a used bookstore and was curious, but the cashier put her glasses on the end of her nose and tapped on the book and said, "This is a cult. Good for her." See, that's the kind of thing where you go, it never hurts to tell someone, because someone like her, she obviously knew it and saved another life from getting snagged into that whole thing. Good. That is really good. I love that story. That is a wonderful, wonderful story. That's really. I recently saw the videos of a young Tori Magoo standing up for the cause. Yep, I know. I'm there. I'm online. I mean, all of my videos from, I think, way back when are, 2008. But Bunker has me from 2000. He's got the earlier ones. Hi, Tori and chat. Hi, Alaska. Thank you for coming by. And make sure to like the videos. We're trying to get our likes up. Pluto TV is free too. Oh, I watch Carson and Lucy and all the classics. Okay. I didn't know that because I have Pluto TV, but I didn't know. I thought you had to buy it. That's good to know. All right. I will check it out. Thank you. All right. So I think that's pretty much it, because I wanted to tell you about the Parishioners League, and that's Scientology's goal to try to look, and you hear it, like they used to be an org, now they're churches. It used to be members, now they're parishioners. They even have, I forget what, regular churches call, like their books of knowledge, but they use that term too. I forget what it is, but I hear it and go, they don't have that. Oh, wow. We're only 12 short now. Who are you, 12? Good, love it. Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you all for liking this. I appreciate it. Good morning, Tori and chat from London. All right. Well, enjoy London. All right, here's a question from Windy City Thetan Watch. I love that name. Did you and your first husband know? I only have one husband, so I don't have two. It's my ex-husband now. Know about the mission on Hermitage in Chicago. I think it was before the Lakeview org existed. He was at, I don't know, wait, what are you saying? It's the Hermitage. I certainly didn't. Remember, I was in college, and the back of the Dianetics book said St. Hill, England, or American St. Hill in Chicago, or in LA. And I thought, I can't afford to go to England, so looks like I'm hitchhiking. And it was 1969. I packed my bags and hitchhiked. I quit college and hitchhiked from Chicago to LA. But he was at I think Larry Winard, I think that was the guy's name. That was his name, Larry Winard. And he was, it was his mission. I don't know that the name that you're saying, I don't know if he called it that, but it was the Larry Winard mission. And I didn't know there were missions. And luckily I didn't, because it was kind of, I don't know, I don't think it was the greatest place, but I probably wouldn't have stayed. I really probably wouldn't have. I probably would have been like, nah, no, not for me. But Asha was so like, wow, this is really, it was so much more exciting, and all these class 6s and class 8s and class 12s. And I was like, wow, it was just really cool. But if I'd gone to a mission, I probably would have been like, meh, no, I don't want to do it. I don't think I would have. I really don't. Isn't that interesting? I just thought of that for the first time ever in my life. I just realized with you asking me that question, I probably wouldn't have stayed in Scientology. And I doubt if I would have met Harold either, because, it's kind of like in and out kind of thing. Kind of amazing. But anyway, he was at Larry Winard's mission in Chicago. And he has a funny story, I'll tell you, where I've told this before, but anyway, it's a funny story. He had a withhold, and the auditor said, "What aren't you telling me?" And he said, "Nothing." And he said, "Well, there's something here you're not saying." And he said, "No, I'm not." He was on the meter. And he said, "Well, there's something you're not telling me." And he said, "No, there isn't." And he said, "You know what? I don't want to do this anyway." And he got up and he went to walk out. And Larry Winard said, "Bazazian, where are you going?" And he said, "I don't want to do this anymore." He said, "All right, then get the hell out of here." And he said, "I don't have to get out of here." He said, "Then get the hell back in session." So he went back in session, and he told the guy who knew his parents, and he told the auditor, he said, "Look, I smoke, and I don't want you to tell my parents." And this was back in the day. The guy gets out a cigarette, lights it up, and gives one to Harold, and they're both sitting there smoking. But that's the old days. It was just so different from how it is now. It's just so different. I love that story. All right. This is from Flagrant Queefs. All right. Tori, much love from the West Coast. And if the Scientology drones decide to touch you, we'll ride at dawn. All right. I like it. Okay. So you guys are bikers. I think that's what you mean. That's cool. How did you ever survive financially after leaving the cult? Getting a job. It's like how everybody survives. You get a job. You look in the paper. You go, all right. I'd mostly been working with Scientology companies, but I sold security and stuff like that, which had nothing to do with Scientology. So I was used to working. So I just got a job, went to work. There you go. All right. No, wait, I missed Adrian. Tori, thanks for going live most nights. I really love listening to all of your stories and opinions on Scientology. Thank you, Adrian. That means a lot to me. It really does. Because I often think, does anybody give a shit? Maybe I should just, literally, I was thinking that last night. I thought, no, maybe nobody really cares anyway. And I was with my son. I thought, oh, I'll see. I'll check tomorrow night. But here we got 215 people. That's not nothing. I don't have 10,000 like some of these other guys, but that's okay. I'm happy with you guys. I love that you come on and that you care and you ask questions, and we have a good group here, don't you think? I think it's really good. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Wait, now I gotta get Adrian. Yeah, thank you. All right, now this is Windy City Thetan Watch. I love that. Thanks. I have contact with the family that knew you back in the day. Wow. They are trying to stay semi-anonymous to protect family relations. I'll research Larry. Okay. Yeah, because it definitely was a mission. And I'm pretty sure the name was Larry Winard. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. And you have contact with a family that knew you back in the day. Wow. I wonder where they knew me. Because I lived in Park Ridge and I lived in Lake Forest Oh, wait, I don't know how to undo that. There you go. I lived in Park Ridge and I lived in Lake Forest. And then, of course, I mean, I got in Scientology, but it wasn't there. I didn't get in Scientology. You know, I hitchhiked from Chicago to Asho, and that began my, stay. Okay, well, please, yeah, that's great, Windy City Thetan. Watch if you'll let me know. I mean, and they can call me too. If you can get my phone number from Love It if you want. And if they want to talk, I would love to talk to them. I just talked to someone the other day that knew Harold, and that was really fun. It was really fun to talk to him. I miss him. I really do. I wish I could, somehow. Well, he's remarried, so there you go. But I'd still love to talk to him just as a friend. That's what our marriage vow said. No matter what, we would stay friends. And I think I believe in vows. I do. I think if you make them, you should keep them. And I do think we should be able to be friends. And we have a son between us. And it's just, I really wish he would stop. I know he knows OT8 didn't work for him. He probably thinks it works for everybody else because everybody else pretends it does. But I know from the QualSec, anyway, I'll tell you that. That's a whole nother thing. But anyway, I wish he would. Okay, so now wait, here's a thing. OT questions. Find the free PDF. The Pied Pipers of Heaven. Wow, by Elkin. It paints the bigger picture, explaining the philosophy apart from and beyond the money aspect. Greetings all. Okay, thank you. Okay, the Pied Pipers of Heaven. It's a PDF. Of Heaven. Okay. By Elkin. All right. Okay, thank you. Oh. Any update on the security cameras you need? I think there's one that's on my wish list on Amazon that for if anybody wants to get it, or if you guys want to go in on it together, that would be great too. But that's where we're at on it. I think Love It knows someone that's going to help me also, but we're kind of waiting. I think he's out of the country, so we're waiting for him to come back. I think that's it. But anyway, we're in between, and I've got one of them that's on the list of the Amazon list, and it might be a good thing to have a few people go in on it together, because then you don't have to do a whole big thing on it. No, wait. You can't. This is Mac Mur Doc Legal. Okay. You can't say Scientology doesn't leave you with the work attitude that makes you attractive to employers. That's very true. And the interesting thing, this is a really interesting thing. It's the same as far as studying too, because I met with some of the top universities in the United States. And when I explained how Scientology study tech worked, they said, if that's true, your son will be able to go to any university he wants. And their recommendation was have him go to PCC, Pasadena City College, just for the first 2 years, and then he can go wherever he wants. Turned out it wasn't true he could go wherever he wanted, because it was during a time when everybody had to be high in math or nothing. And he was an honor student, but not high in math. And so anyway, I got him in, but it was tricky. It was really tricky. But yeah, I do think their work ethic, especially the seaorg. I mean, the seaorg are amazing. I mean, they come out, those guys are workaholics and clean freaks like you can't believe. I mean, it's fantastic. So that's that. And definitely they have very strong work ethic because you have to keep making money to go up the bridge. So it's like you just, they're good in that sense. That's why, they're good people for a lot of reasons. This is good. Joe, don't you dare give this up. We all love it, Tori. Okay, thank you. All right, but you have to let me know if it's sort of like you wish I'd talk about blah, say it. You know what I mean? Because if you have questions on something, keep going. Okay, I will. Thank you, guys. Yes, we care. All right. I need my Miss Tori fix of Magoo at midnight every night. Who would think? Isn't it just so fun? For me, it's just very fun that you guys are around at this time because it's, for me being a night owl, there's like one person I know that's a night owl that I could, and she and I often, we'll be on the internet and she'll call me or something like that because we're the only two that we know that are night owls. But this is so fun to have a whole group of people. For me, it's huge, and I love it. I really do. And I don't want thousands of people anyway. That's too many. Wow. All right. We have 204 people. All right, we did it. Thank you, love it, and everybody here. It was 204 people are in the house and 222 likes. So that means maybe there's some people that are watching who aren't in the house, and you are welcome to come out. And the gentleman who said that is correct. We will help you if you come out, because some people probably do think, where am I going to work? You know what I mean? And it's like there's tons of work out here. It's amazing. And there's tons of nice people. And the biggest shock is how many of your friends are out here. That was the most stunning thing to me. It was just like, oh my God. Because you have no idea. When you're in the little Truman Show, that's it. That's everybody. And I try to tell the picketers that when they're picketing, because I go, you have to understand, they are saying outside, you 6 people are all that there is that is against Scientology. That's it. So then people go, really? And they go, yeah, that's it. That's how, we don't, people love Scientology. It's just those people that have a problem with it. And so then you think, oh, they don't realize that every person holding a phone now has, 1,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 people that are on there talking with them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a huge deal now, way different than the old days of picketing. So it's kind of cool. Thank you, love it. That was good to know. All right, and here's the Windy City Thetan Watch. We recently contacted you, and they are Chicagoans. They recently contacted you, and they're, oh, maybe is it the niece? It's the niece. I can't really say, but is it a niece? Does that sound right? Because I want to talk to them again. If they knew me before, I want to talk to them. Jeepers, Tori, this is incredibly interesting. I learned so much, that fascinating stuff. I've just got to try to make sure I differentiate between those on staff, public, and those who toil in the Sea Org. Okay, so it's not really that hard. I mean, staff usually, I think now they're having, well, Sea Org, they used to wear the Navy uniforms. Now they have them in, I think, black and white. But you can kind of see a Sea Org member. They're on post. They never smile. They're busy. They're in their black and white uniforms, and that's it. They used to have clipboards all the time. Now they don't do that. But anyway, that's the Sea Org. So you can pretty much tell the Sea Org. They're not hard to tell. And then staff, that's a tricky one for me because I didn't even know they still had staff. I thought they got rid of them. Here in LA, I know the head of LA org, they made her leave because she was pregnant, and she went to Ohio or something, and they said, yeah, we're done with class 5 orgs. We're going to make this an all Sea Org org. So I was like, okay. So I just thought they were getting rid of class 5 orgs. But now recently people have been saying there is still staff. So I don't know how to tell you how to tell a public from a staff. But one thing you can always do is ask them. It's like, are you a Scientologist? Yes. Okay. Seaorg, you pretty much know. Okay, that's Seaorg. But staff, you could say, are you public or staff? And they'll say, I'm public, most of them. Because usually staff aren't out milling around talking to people. So that's one of the things. If they're out and about, it's usually public. But you can always ask them. I ask people all the time, because they used to always, OSA would have these big white trucks that would pull up in front of my house. And it would scare me. And I would think, oh, it's OSA. And then I thought, you know what? I'm not going to live this way. So I'd go out, knock on the window, knock, knock, knock. Can I ask you a personal question? And they'd roll down the window and they'd say, yeah, sure. What's up? And I'd say, do you work for a company or do you use any of the Hubbard management technology? And they'd say, are you kidding me? No, I work for AT&T. Okay, thank you. And that was it. But I do it all the time. If I think somebody is, I ask them. Or if I think they're a Scientologist, I say, that was the first thing. I was at Bob's Big Boy, and a guy came and sat right next to us. And I thought, boy, that's totally what OSA does. They used to send people all the time, go sit next to so-and-so, find out what they're saying, and bring it back to us. So I thought, it's OSA. It was 4 of us and 1 of him by himself. So I thought, you know what? I can't live like this. I'm going to handle this right now. And I went over and I said, excuse me, can I ask you a personal question? And he said, yeah, sure. And I said, are you a Scientologist? And he looks at me and he goes, God, no. Do I look like one? It was really funny. And I said, no, you don't look like one. I just escaped out of there. I was in it for 30 years. I'm out now. But one of the things they always do is when we leave, they have people come sit near us and then they listen in and get information and report back. So I just figured I'll ask you. So thank you. And he cracked up. Most people really like it. They like that you ask them. So anyway, I've never had a negative thing on it ever. Even a Scientologist, I went in to get a job, and Scientology, they have a thing, with the scratch things where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, slant 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, slant 5. So those people in Scientology have to keep all these statistics. And I went in to get this job. Again, it was like 20 years ago. And I went in to get the job, and this girl's keeping track of all this stuff. And we're talking, and she really likes me. And I'm looking down over her. She's like a receptionist. And I realize every phone call she's having to record and keep track of how many have called in, right? And nobody does that, not real business. So I say to her, can I ask you a question? She goes, yeah, sure. And I said, do you use the Hubbard management technology here? And she goes, we do. And I said, okay, well, here's the bad news. I am a declared suppressive person. And she goes, you're kidding. You're so nice. And I said, I know a lot of suppressive people are really nice. That's the tricky thing. And she goes, well, did you talk to the IJC? And I said, they won't. I only have one person I can talk to, and they won't. And she was like, well, I'm going to call them and talk to them. And I said, okay, good luck on that. And I left, because I know they won't talk to him. They won't talk to me. But it's very ironic that they have it in writing. Her only terminal is the IJC via the Continental Justice Chief. And yet they won't ever talk to me, ever. I've written them. I've called them. Not that I really want to get back in. I don't. But it's a little offensive that they would never hear my side, yet they can write all this shit about me. That's not right. And that's why I keep speaking out, Scientology. It's like I told you when I was in, and I will tell you today, July, or what are we in? April 22nd, 2024. You are creating your own enemies by doing this. It would be a simple thing to make a phone call in all the SPs, say, all right, one at a time. What's your story? Why are you leaving? What's going on? What could we do better that we screwed up on? Because you obviously screwed up on something, or we wouldn't all be out here, right? So anyway, you could call. That's what I would do, is call everybody in and say, all right, what's going on? What happened? And hear their stories. And then see if they have anything that maybe you hadn't thought of that you could, or you could change, you know what I mean? That would help things a little bit. But will they? No. And we know that. So live with it, Scientology. Jeepers, I'm glad you enjoyed this. And I hope it helps you differentiate between staff, public, and the few seer guys that are left. Thankfully, there aren't many. Okay, now wait a minute. Here's a few. Ooh. Okay, there's Jeepers. All right, Susan Ward, thank you. I just love watching you, Tori. Thank you. Okay, this is Windy City, Dayton. I can't disclose the name. No, I'm not asking you to. They still have family in, but I'll ask them to reach back out to you. Yeah, because I honestly, the best thing is to just call me, because I'm not good with, if they sent me an email or something, that's not going to happen with me. I'm really bad with email. And I'm a little bit okay with texting, but usually with texting, I say to someone, why don't you call me? Because it takes so long to text out anything you're going to just talk on the phone. I'm just amazed that these kids don't ever use the phone. It's unbelievable to me. Anyway, they don't. Tori, I was here as you went live 2 hours ago. I have had breakfast, gone out, done some grocery shopping, and back home, all while you stream kept me company. Aw. Well, I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but it's kind of an interesting topic, and that's the way it is. But it's interesting how much stuff you got done. I'm glad I was able to keep you company. In love, it says thank you also. That's a nice thing. I think seer people wear those golden vests now. Oh, okay. Good to know. Yeah, if anybody has any tips, let us know. Okay, I haven't seen those, but I believe you. I love the one that Jessica did, Jessica Pomadessa. She's hysterical. She made one early on when she was still at the testing center. And she went out and bought a vest because she said, they're not respecting me enough on the street. So I'm getting a vest and a bunch of stack of papers, and I'm going to give out, personality tests and start my own cult, And she's like, do you want to join my cult? And it was so funny. She is a very funny person. Anyway, okay, here's someone with a comment. Alaska. Now they're pretty much stuffing the staff with seaorg members. That's what I thought. Miscavige keeps reorganizing the cult, blurring the lines even further, and all in order to hide the blatant decline. That's what I thought. I know, because I went to the last, they have graduation. They used to have it every Friday night. Now I don't think they have enough people to do it every Friday night, but I went to one of them, and I mean, they were powering out. It was just tons of people, but you could tell 99.5% of them were Sea Org. They weren't public. They may have had one person who graduated, but that was it. Yep, so that's good, Alaska. Thank you. Okay, good. So Stevie O is saying Mark's digitalizing pictures is class. Okay, good. Okay, you were declared with Anon Sparrow in 2010. Oh, yeah, I remember Anon Sparrow. Who wears the golden vest? Sea Org. I haven't seen him, but that's what you just said. It was Sea Org. Hat guidelines. Please be kind to each other. Use the at your friends when chatting. For Tori, please use complete sentences and context. Thank you. And that definitely helps me. It really does. I mean, it's really changed. The whole communication here has been much better. And other people come on and say, wow, it's a really nice site. And I think part of it is that. I do. Comment. It's absolutely hilarious to me how you had a job interview. You spotted the lady was keeping phone call tabs. You literally asked about Hubbard management technology, and she just switched to the Scientology jargon. Well, I mean, they're really proud of it. And when I said it, because I don't say it like, are you using the Hubbard management technology? I said, hey, do you use the Hubbard management technology? And she's like, yes, thinking we're on the same page. And I was, so I understand it. But, I love to tell them I'm a declared suppressive because maybe it'll get something to wake up in there. It's like, wait a minute, this is a really nice person. She was upset. She really was. And it was like, okay, then do something. Good night, Magoo. Good night, Robert Sandy Beach. That's cute. That's a good Nick. I have to sleep. Okay, I do too. But please know that we all very much appreciate what you're doing here, Tori. It matters. This is a beautiful community. Thank you. Thank you, Spartacus. I am. I appreciate that. I do. I really do. Okay, we just did the guidelines, so I'm not going to do them again. Jessica is so funny. I know. She keeps calling the best courses, even for the guys. I know she's a very funny person. She really is. If you haven't seen her, look up Jessica Palmadesso. She's something else. I worked in downtown Minnesota for over 20 years across the street from Dianetics storefront. Walked by it all the time. I didn't know anything about Scientology at the time, but got creepy vibes. Yeah, a lot of people say that they get really creepy vibes from them. Because see, unfortunately, most of them won't smile. So we used to say that when I was in, we'd say, can't you just talk to the seaorg? Because they walked on the street, just like, we're on post, we're tone 40. And we'd say, can't you just, like get them to smile, say hello to people walking by so they look more normal, because they just look so robotic, and they always have, and they still do. Okay, this is from Mac Murd. I don't know how to say your name. Mac. The Celebrity Center in Dusseldorf is very explicit about not just being open for celebrities, particularly begging people to come to have people there. Yeah. Yeah, that happened years ago where originally Yvonne started it, and it was mostly for musicians and artists and things like that. But she was always inclusive. It was like there were always people that weren't like, I was there at CC, and I wasn't an artist, I wasn't a musician. I wish I was, but I wasn't. But she was very welcoming, very welcoming. But years after that, after Hubbard died, they kind of switched it so that like LA.org, which used to be where the new people would come in, it's like it's at the front of the whole big blue complex. And people were supposed to enter at LA.org, then go on to ASHO, then go across the street to AO. That was the plan, and then go to Flag. But years ago, they kind of switched it to anybody with money went to Celebrity Center. If you had money or connections, Celebrity Center. And all the rest went to LA.org. So LA.org just became kind of this dumping ground where nobody wanted to go there. And they were upset about it. It's like, why does anybody want to come here? And I'd explain this. I'd say, you've already set it up this way. So, it's like people that should be here that, yeah, they make some money, but that doesn't mean they're celebrities. You know what I mean? But anyway, I know that they've been doing that for a while, so they're kind of desperate. All right, here's Justice. Comment, good day, Tori. I will watch the replay here in the Netherlands. All right. 1131.1, you sweetheart. Okay. I don't know what 1131.1 means, but thank you for your hearts. Windy City Thetan Watch. In Chicago, the staff, not seaorg, wear the golden vest. Oh, the staff do. Okay, wear the golden vest under the theater usher jacket. It helps me find the body routers out of the neighborhood. Oh, out in the neighborhood. Okay. Okay, so they're actually staff. They're not seaorg. All right. I'll have to look around. Yeah, because here they wear white and black pants, the seaorg. They don't, I haven't seen the golden vests here. I'm catching up with, they do wear vests, but they're black vests. All right, now here's one. I'm catching up with the beginning of the stream, but I saw your talk from Skeptic Camp, and it was amazing. I could listen to you tell your story a million times over. You're a treasure. Oh, Skeptic Camp. Yeah, that was recent. Oh, where did you see that? Because I haven't seen it myself. Tell me where here's my email thing. If you could email that to me where you saw it, because I don't know where to see it. And I'd like to see it. That'd be fun. That was fun. It really was. But I'm glad you saw it. Good. And if you could email me, that would be good. Ooh, here's somebody from Scotland. All right. And good night, Tori. Thank you. All right. So I think it's time. We've made it. It's been a wonderful night. All right. Wait, here's something. A comment. Kindness adds that extra third dimension to words spoken or written, typed. I mean, one can't be quote unquote kind in, say, scientific literature, but a degree of respect always helps. Yeah, I agree. I really agree. And 11:31 is the time. Ah, same here in Sweden now, 11:31. Wow. Well, here it's 2:38. So it's not 11:31 here. But I got you. I guess where Anne is. Oh, wait, what happened to her? Here's Anne. Oh, wait, it went away. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, here it's 2:39. Love watching your late night with Tori streams. Thank you, Acer2. Sleep tight. Thank you, Philosophy. Good night, all of you. I love you guys. I agree with Love It. Thank you for hanging in there. Have a great night and a great day tomorrow. All right. Thank you all. I love you. And it means a lot to me. So thank you very much. And have a wonderful day.